Sorry for the lateness. Things are happening. But hey, it's Moonrise because it's Saturday, and I don't think anyone was expecting to have this game until yesterday. Um, but again, we're super duper late, and let's not waste any more time. It's been a minute. Can someone possibly tell me what happened the last time we were together?
All right, so last time we were together, we moved from regathering ourselves after a bloody fight with what was called a Gorble. Some people got injured, some people got knocked out. There was a death. And
don't worry about it.
After regathering ourselves, we took a short rest and then continued on, knowing that the weather was just increasingly getting worse as we were making way as part of an exploration path, but trying to just get towards Stenholm. I let everybody off the road for specific reasons that no one has asked. And there were some more injuries from people falling. Apparently these people don't know how to walk through a forest. And ultimately, we have made it to a long rest location where we got to use a tiny hut, which was really nice, and everyone wasn't freezing to death. There was good role play, and that was last session.
Difficulties that happened. Hollow got exhaustion. Mordecai and Lars's leg got stuck in a hole that no one noticed. Gwen got impaled by a tree as it fell on her. And Gwen and Ivar almost fell through a crevice that opened up. Gwen got out of the way. Ivar can float, fortunately, in the dark, so we were able to rope him out. It's been fun. And Kenna's all fine. Thanks to me. It's true, though.
Okay. Is there anything else anyone would like to add? Because that is more or less a reasonable summation of the last time we played. Okay. In which case, as it was said, and as was asked prior to the game, if you haven't already taken care of your long rest benefits, please do so while everything else is beginning. Get that out of the way so it doesn't come up later when it matters, because you guys have a hell of a road in front of you. Which is to say, if you all remember, we last left off with you working your way through a blizzard, and you managed to find a very suitable rock face to sort of build your camp up against, and much of the preparation work mitigated by the aforementioned tiny hut spell. But once collected and the rest is taken, when you awake, let's roll some dice and see what the weather looks like. The blizzard is subsiding.
I think it.
Yes, I know you druid crafted, but that tells you in 24 hours. It's not been 24
Yes.
So we're getting to where that is going, which is to say, it is since lessened.
I thought I was going to get quiet.
The blizzard is lessened. The day is bright. The sun refracting through the cloud, the white cloud cover above. There is a heavy layer of fresh snow coating everything, with flakes still drifting down as you're coming to in the morning. Is there any preparation work you guys would like to do prior to your setting off for the remainder of your trip? Think carefully. It's the last chance you get.
That foreboding sign.
Lars would like to do a quick scavenge for any sort of food because I believe my rations, I think, are not running low, but I want to keep them up, if you know what I mean.
All right.
I think I'm down to 3 rations.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Lars, being a smart boy, knows that getting to Stenholm, you're definitely going to need some more food between now, there, and there. 3 days rations will not get you the several days more to Stenholm.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, if you would like to do some foraging, you may. It is a survival check.
Okie doke. Survival.
Unless
not my
you're
best.
I'm about to say, unless you're specifically trying to go hunting.
I mean, that's what I'm good for, not like picking berries. Lars is not known for picking the berries, but
well, then I also have to ask, how are you hunting?
Life man. Dog man.
Because previously you used to do
I
rifle.
can help him out with that.
Used to do some rifle hunting. But given your lack of ammunition in the moment, how are you trying to track down and kill creatures? I just kind of want to know. It affects the difficulty a little.
I know. I really should have set up like my traps. I really should have set up my traps like before I went to bed. That's something I didn't think of at the time.
Well, you also don't think about doing that in the middle of a severe blizzard.
No. Again, also true. I mean, Lars would probably get help, but he would also be like, to like kind of like, look, we've still got a ways to go, and I've still not got. I don't think I've got as many food to keep me going. So I'd like to try and see if we can get some food off the land if necessary.
Yeah, you've received help from Gwen, so if you'd like to make your survival check at advantage, you may. And you also know, ultimately, you do have an incredibly skilled forager in your midst, in the form of Kenna.
Yeah. That's a natural 20 plus 1. That's actually good roll. Good roll to begin with.
Pretty good lead-in.
Oh, that's not even an advantage. I don't think I get any better.
It literally,
15,
yeah, it's impossible.
15 plus 1. Yeah.
Natural 20s are as high as it gets. Well, with Gwen's help, who does have extraordinarily sharp senses, you do manage to find several edible goods amidst the forest. Along with a little help from Portia, you also managed to capture 2 rabbits.
Nice. Very good.
So, and if you were hunting specifically, if you were foraging and hunting specifically for yourself, you've got about 2 days worth of additional rations.
Good. 2 days additional rations. I will put down. And 2 rabbits to give out?
Like, no, everything in total, including the rabbits, are about 2 days worth of rations.
Okay, cool. I will make that known to the group as and when we're about to leave.
And it's important to remember you are thrown back into the elements promptly 8 hours after that tiny hut was cast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not a fun awakening.
No.
Yeah, there is a certain need for preparation to get going, knowing that the relative safety of that it would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the foraging, anything else prior to that? Before we
It's
move
not too much of a mechanical thing, but oh god, I forgot the word. This morning, after the talk with Fricks, Hollow is going to be excitedly going for their book and playing on and off because they want to start thinking about that nice performance they're going to give Fricks and everyone else. So they're excited and preparing for that because they feel very inspired. So you're going to hear that, and also them grinning face ear to ear, just ooh. What song should I play? What kind of look should I give? Because, you know, the sky itself, they can do pop 1 in for something. A lot of fun prep work there.
Instrument
So
tuning.
Yeah, they're still,
humming.
of course, they don't really hum much. But despite their exhaustion, because they're still at exhaustion level 1, they'll be doing that.
I'm just going to be help breaking down camp.
All right. Pretty simple stuff then. And again, it's important to remember that, you know, a long rest is 6 hours of sleep for normal folks and then 2 hours of light activity. And given Tiny Hut and the need to want to be ready to go before it drops, I suspect the 2 hours of light activity were on the other end. In which case, everything could easily be taken care of and everyone could be ready to go prior to the huts vanishing. And once that's completed, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say Kenna is going to begin leading the party back into the wilderness.
Correct.
For whatever reason Kenna has, and no one else will ever understand.
For some reason, I thought we discussed it last time, but I guess we didn't.
You know why?
So,
No, I guess I was thinking out of character we were talking about then.
Nope. Yeah. Kinda probably before everybody is knowing how this would play out. Kenna would probably be like, all right, let's go. And like everyone's still trying to get like a backpack on and like getting their coat situated, and Kenna just starts taking off into the woods.
Crunch.
Yeah, you'd notice if you were the one to wake up first that Ivar was just prepared generally already. He's like
just sitting there with his backpack on.
Yeah.
Just like a puppy sitting
like
there. Good boy wagging his tail.
Yeah.
That's not weird.
It's not, no. If anything, he's mostly just looking out into the darkness. So yes, he is ready and will follow behind you.
Dire, as I move forward, and I start leading on into the woods, I'm probably going to keep. Now that you said the snowfall was starting to, over time, lessen. Is there still snowfall actively, or just fresh powder on the ground?
No, there's still snowfall actively.
Okay. How much fresh powder when I take a new step out from where the hut was?
From where the hut was, so I mean that's actually very telling because you had a hut up.
Yep.
It was just below halfway up on the hut. So
it was enough snow overnight to be like
about 4 feet.
4 feet of snow. Y'all, I've lived through that. That is. Anyways,
that'd be
okay.
It was an intense blizzard.
So we're not really stepping through the forest as much as wading through the forest.
Yep. Do you start the day off with water walking by chance?
Anyone who still has their snowshoes can be used. As I don't think mine are. I think mine are still in good condition, at least.
Ivar didn't have any though, unless he brought some.
Yeah, no, Ivar doesn't.
Kenna's gonna start moving, just kind of like paying no mind, being used to this kind of snow. She didn't grow up with water walk. That's not how life is. You've got to struggle first before you get the fun things. And it's just gonna continue on.
Did she just pull it back in my day?
Yeah, she did. But about, I'd say 30 minutes in, she'll realize how slow the party's having to travel. considering I think the snow is almost as tall as Edelweiss. Or as Hollow, sorry.
Pretty
It's
darn
4 feet
nearly.
of snow, yeah.
They're
So-
5'7", 6.
Well, yeah, but that's 4 foot of fresh snow on top of the already foot and a half of
Yeah.
snow that we were already going through.
It's basically
Yeah.
like up to their shoulders.
How about let's not have the person have to like starting to get cold stress and stuff like have to wade through.
So about 30 minutes or so, I'd realize and I'd stop and go, all right, clear an area for everybody and, drink some water, and I would do a ritual. And I'll ritual cast Water Walk. Because I forgot that it's a ritual.
It is a ritual.
Which is the only reason I'm doing it.
Meanwhile, I do have an important question to ask Fricks in these 10 minutes of time.
Shoot.
Yeah, otherwise we'll, as usual, I don't know what he's doing while we're waiting for Kenna to do her ritual. Standing around, looking at snow.
It's kind of, just idly standing there, just sort of watching everything quietly.
Fricks.
Yes.
Give me a second. That internet died just a quick minute.
Don't know what
My
that
bad.
means.
Your voice got really weird because of my internet. Anyways, Fricks, quick question. Just curious. Nothing important. Actually, maybe, but
Ask the question,
I've-
please.
concerning just when you were telling me didn't know what a father was, that reminds me. You do know what sex is, right? Not the physical, the act of. I just need to make sure.
You kind of quirk his head off to the side. I am aware of what that is, yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. There is a title there. It was all about that thing. Okay, carry on then.
Head tilts in the other direction. And water walking is cast. Woo!
Mine was muted. So, as we continue on, I'm going to try to watch for any tremors, even slight, in the snow. Because when it shakes, the snow vibrates. Or any, maybe if the trees start to begin vibrating or moving by snow falling off the limbs. Even if it ends up being like an animal or just naturally the wind, I'm gonna keep an eye out for that while moving forward.
Okay. Easy peasy.
I want to
Suspicious
catch
that a permafrost ground just had a sinkhole happen.
I want to tag or catch up to Kenna real quick as she starts to move again.
Sure. No problem with the
And-
water walking active.
Yeah, and just why did you take us off the road?
A road provides no cover to the elements. It's also not the straightest path.
Maybe not, but we've gotten into a lot of trouble out here.
You can get just as much trouble on a road. There are people who want your stuff on the road. Last time we were on a road, we got ambushed by a bunch of blood creatures.
I'm beginning to think I would take that over hidden crevices under the snow.
That was quite unusual. I still haven't figured out why that happened.
Well, if you have any ideas, let me know.
I will.
Gwen falls back into line. She's been bringing up the rear with the rest of, she has been bringing up the rear to keep the rest of the group just caboosed off by someone who knows what they're doing, relatively.
So Gwen will go back to the end of the marching order?
Yeah, I just let everybody pass by me.
Okay.
Yep, there we go. Fixing that. There we go.
When you have 2 crew leads, one travels in the front and one travels in the back. That way there's an in-reach next to everybody.
You just want to, never mind.
And we continue.
And we continue.
Where does Frick travel in the line?
Between Ivar and Hollow.
Okay. Cool. There we go. Okay.
Is it 1 X's or 2 X's? I'm now
It's
very
1.
confused.
It's 1.
Oh.
It's always.
We thought it was
1.
2 for a while.
There's
We thought it was 2.
there's a token on the screen with his name
Yeah.
on it. So.
Oh, yes, there is. Look, the extra X just for a little bit of spice, Anyway.
Speaking of non-spicy things, you begin marching forward through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling in the direction confidently that you know you need to be heading in.
About another 30 minutes in, I'm going to summon Emba to be along.
Okay. And where is Emma going to be in the marching order?
Next to me.
Okay, just hanging out with you.
Directly next to me. Yeah.
Okay.
On Kenna's left.
Okay.
Just
Well,
keep going.
the journey continues. And in a stark contrast to the day previous, it is mostly uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't any sudden crevices opening. The winds have stayed subdued. And it's relatively peaceful in this otherwise pure white forest that you're traversing. I suppose I should ask, does Kenna do like the every hour stop to re-water walk thing?
No.
Okay.
Not every hour. Possibly every other.
Okay, good to know. Do me a solid and make a survival check for me, Kenna.
Mm-hmm. I think I have a plus. I should have these memorized by now.
You think
21.
21's very good. As expected, it is not difficult for you to navigate your way through this through the forest. Keeping in mind where you are trying to run parallel to the road that is not too far away. And eventually, you reach an edge of the forest that begins to suddenly go downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hill descends for about 200 feet or so. It's quite rocky. And down below at the bottom, you actually see something interesting, which is an individual of unknown race and origin currently wading through this heavy snowfall in pursuit by something that looks like it was once a bear.
Oh.
And I say what once looks like a bear because as it's running, it's leaving this really dark, very vicious red streak in the snow behind.
You said
How far
200
away?
feet?
200 feet down the hill. That is correct.
It's down a rock hill.
Yeah.
We can't see the rocks though, or is
You
the
can.
rocks large enough to come out of the snow?
Some of the rocks you can see, and you can tell based off of how much of the snow fell. At some point, a lot of the snow fell sort of shifted down to the bottom of the hill.
Mm-hmm. Avalanche style.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
they're
this is
running
all-
from it.
This guy's running from the bear creature.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the bottom, and basically, so if you're going forward, they're crossing your path.
Like
Down
a
at the
T.
bottom of the
Okay.
hill. Yes, exactly like it. You see this individual just taking like these huge like leaping steps, trying to work his way through the snow, but it's clearly going to fail him after a certain time.
And it calls out to the rest of the party and goes, "Someone is trying to escape that bear." And I look to Emba, and Emba's just gonna dash towards that bear.
We got a
I have a question.
flying
Actually,
fire beam.
dash towards the person. Sorry, not the bear, towards the person.
And go ahead and shoot.
How big are these rocks?
Varying sizes, but the ones you can see, pretty big. At least like the smallest one that is visible, there is about 6 feet high.
6 feet?
Yep.
Okay. So too big to sled down.
All the ones that you could try to use for that, you can't see. You'd have to try to find one.
No, I was thinking about
punch a
using my
rock.
shield.
Oh, you could
Yeah, I was
definitely
about to
use
say
your
we have
shield.
shields.
Yeah. You could certainly try. I'm never going to stop someone from trying to snowboard on a
Okay,
shield.
guys.
All right.
Okay.
Gwen's gonna hear. I feel like trying some dumb shit. Gwen is gonna hear what Kenna says and go up to. Sure has go up to the edge, sort of suss out what's going on here and what the hillside looks like. And can I like ascertain the path of least resistance, meaning most snow, smallest rocks?
Get ready for a fun check. It's a perception check, but it is not wisdom based, it is intelligence based.
Okay.
Good old floating math time.
Yeah, so it'll be your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence score plus whatever you roll. But you do have an advantage on it because wolf girl.
Wolfie.
Wolf girl.
Okay, that was nice. And that was less nice. 17 plus stuff plus stuff.
4. It's 4.
Plus 4. 19.
What?
21. You were
Yeah.
right.
I'm like, what number did you roll?
Y'all, if I shake my head too hard right now, it sounds like a cowbell, all right? I got no brain left.
Wow, that is a sentence.
That is a great. That's
yeah.
great.
Your
Okay.
girl is sunbaked.
Yeah, I know that. Gwen, you are confident you have a pretty good read on where to go.
All right, let's do a Christmas vacation move. Griswold Family Christmas, let's go.
I love it that you know that reference.
Of course I know that reference.
Hey, you've not seen a lot of movies, okay? How was I supposed to expect you to have seen Griswold Family Christmas?
Fair
This is
enough. Let's do this.
Yeah, okay, please. This is going to be an athletics check. Do you have proficiency like in land vehicles or anything in the similar vein?
I have proficiency in athletics.
Yeah, it's gonna help. All right, yeah, just make a straight up athletics check.
Okay.
I mean, she technically has proficiency in shields, so you know.
Yeah, I have proficiency in shields.
Yes, for fighting with them.
What do you mean?
Okay. 11 plus 7? 18?
18. All right, it gets you off. You get the shield. You consider your path, and you kind of walk up to the edge. You see everyone sort of weighing their options. You see Emba begin flying down there as a little fiery bear beam that he is, and you arrange the shield, you kind of toss it and take a running start, kind of like a classic skimboard, and you leap on it, and you kind of just, after a moment, it's like, and you the friction catches on the shield, and you just go.
Nice.
We'll put you 90 feet, just for the sake of rounding it out, we'll put you 100 feet down the hill in the first turn here.
Cool.
In our unofficial initiative order. But we've got Emba moving, we've got Gwen moving. What about everyone else? What are you doing?
Using my free interaction to yell at the person.
Yep.
Run towards the fire bear.
Away from the blood bear.
Away from the evil bear.
How?
Running towards the bear. Worst advice I've ever heard.
Can Ivar look over the person running? Do they seem injured in any way? Like a quick scan of body, like any clearly open wound?
This is really a distance game. Make a perception check.
Perception?
Perception.
Okay. I clicked the button. It's coming. There it is.
It's good. It's pretty good. At a glance, no. There's a gap between the two of these entities where the bear is leaving a bunch of blood in its wake. But when you're watching him work his way through, he's not leaving any evidence of wounds. At a glance, and given your 25 perception, you can tell this individual, by most accounts, looks human. Slightly darker skin, bronze. And is dressed in some leather armor, has a bow, a relatively sturdy pack filled with equipment that kind of reminds you of like what Kenna carries on a regular basis. But near as you can tell, no obvious signs of any wounds or any telltale hurty boy business.
Okay. Then Ivar would like to start, I guess, moving towards those two at a interject point where he would be between the person and the bear.
All right. I mean, you're just gonna run down the hill, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Dashing.
After looking at it, looking and making sure he's not hurt, yeah, he would be dashing.
Okay. So we'll put you 60 feet down the hill. You will arrive on an intercept in about 3 turns.
Okay.
We've got Ivar, we got Gwen.
Yeah.
How's the hill looking for? Like, it's not, I get from the sound of it, it's not super precarious like the other hill we had many sessions ago, or the incline.
I mean, it could be, but it's not steep. It's reasonable enough to run down. It's not like you're jumping
I don't
off a
have
cliff.
to make a check that I have a disadvantage on, correct?
Not currently, no. If you stumble into something underneath the snow that you don't see, you might.
I see. Okay, so how many feet away? It's like 200 down.
200 feet down. They're basically at the base of the hill.
Okay. I'm gonna start making my way down, not too fast, because still knows pretty exhausted, and especially having traveled already, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely not 100%, but they want to start getting to rage to start doing the shooty thing.
Okay, so you 30 feet?
30 feet.
Okay.
Maybe a little more, but pretty much like 30 feet.
Word. Modahain.
How far away is the bear from the group?
200 feet.
200 feet.
200.
So Lars would sort of like drop the cloak so that Porsche could run around, and I will dash down to try and head off to where the guy is running rather than where the bear is running.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be my action. I would essentially give direction to Porsche to chase after the bear as like a distraction, if possible.
Okay. And silly me, I don't have a note. What was Kenna doing? I know Emba is going. Kenna was just shouting, right? Kenna's not moving.
Currently, Kenna's going to move after Emba makes the dash. So Emba's using his 60-foot dash hover speed.
Yep.
I had to actually ask this question: where in line did this fall with the having a water walk for an hour, not having a water walk for an hour?
We're going to assume that you're within a window of water walking.
Okay, because that is going to change everything very, very drastically.
Yeah, we're for the sake of brevity, we're going to assume this is
Okay.
within one of the off hours of water walk, or one of the on hours of water walk, however you want to phrase that.
Okay. Now I think we addressed this once, but I just need to know. I was trying to find it, and I might have just read over it on accident. But am I able to wild shape while having Emba out?
Yes. It's going to be my initial knee-jerk response to that. I will go read the ability. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any limitations.
I believe you're correct on that.
Yeah, because the wild shape doesn't specify. Doesn't specify. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, there is no there's no limitation if Emba's summoned if you can or cannot wild shape. So we assume that you can.
Does it seem like the just from seeing this, everyone moving? I wanted to wait till everyone started moving. Does the bear seem to notice or care about anything besides the person it's chasing?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not. You guys just sort of arrived on the scene.
Yeah. I'm gonna move 30 feet. Actually, I can. I'm encumbered. I gotta move 20 feet. I don't want to dash.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, everyone begins making their way.
For the person to look up, if they look at Emba is going to be kind of be like gliding, like not even like hovering like a water walk, but just straight gliding through the air.
Yeah, as everyone begins making their way into the fray, moving their way down the hill, Gwen leading the charge, literally on the back of her shield. As this guy is kind of like high stepping his way through the snow, and you yell at him, you see him turn and look up. Frost is just sort of clinging to his mustache and beard. And he just begins sort of like waving his arms frantically, like, and you kind of hear bits and pieces. I don't know, actually, everyone's passive perception in this group is pretty good except Hollows and Mordahine. Okay, well, half of you have good passive perception. For those of you with the good passive perception, aka not Mordahine or Hollow, you guys can hear that he's saying words, but you can't make out the words. The rest of you can hear him going, "Stay away! Don't get closer!" As he takes his movement and continues moving his way through the snow, but clearly still not gaining ground from the bear. The bear is going to likewise keep chasing the man. Fixated on him.
When you said likewise, I thought I was about to shout. I was.
No, come closer.
Can I roll insight on what he just said?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
Gwen's pretty insightful.
I'm fairly insightful. That's a fat 11. That's a fat 17 total.
Pretty good. So yeah, while you're rapidly approaching, and your attention's a little focused on trying to make sure you don't have an early wipeout, bro. There is part of what he's saying that it sounds like he doesn't want you to get in the way. Like he might not appear to be as helpless as the situation may have seemed as you stumbled upon. You don't know why or how, but he definitely seems to be trying to flag you guys away from the situation.
And the bear hasn't noticed us yet.
Not yet. Well, actually,
right.
You don't know if it's noticed you. It doesn't care about you yet.
Gotcha. All right. I know I've been shredding this sick gnar, but I think I'm gonna try to bank off of it and try to stop myself on a rock. Yep, that's what we're gonna do.
All right. Make another athletics check.
Okay. Not as good. 10 plus 7, so 17.
Okay. No, that's still really good. How far down do you want to travel in this turn? Because
How far down?
Yeah, because purposely shield boarding your way down, you get 100 feet in a round. Where between 0 and 100 feet would you like to break?
And it's 200 feet from me. All that's going on.
It's 100 feet from you now.
Okay.
Because you made it halfway down the hill in the first turn.
Cool. Was I able to get any kind of gauge on how fast the bear was moving?
You haven't really spent much time checking, but roughly speaking, from what you've been able to observe, the bear is making about twice the distance on the gentleman every turn.
Interesting. And
so let's say if he's moving at 20 feet around, the bear is moving at 40.
Cool. All right. What I'm going to, where's the nearest edge of this into the snow? Is this just like a patch of save that has fallen down and taken snow with it and just left rock underneath, or is there are there capstones to it on either edge, or is this just a whole slope that's been taken?
It's just the whole slope that's been taken.
Okay. Damn, so I can't do it. Okay. Does it look like there are any game trails up here? Anything that might have made a catwalk where it's a little bit more level?
Not in this space.
No. Okay. Gwen's gonna cut it pretty sharp and try to get a break as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So between 100 and
10 and 100 is your space. You can either only have gone 10 feet, which case that's a hard break, or you could have traveled further down the hill. That's up to you.
We're gonna call it 25.
Okay.
Still pretty hard, but hopefully not backbreaking.
17 is doable.
Okay. Yeah, I really wanted to do what Hargy posted in that GIF and just throw myself into a bank of snow, but it doesn't look like that's possible.
There could be a boulder underneath that bank of snow.
Sometimes that's just a risk you gotta take.
Okay, well, Gwen has come to a stop, observable by most of the party, given how far ahead she is from everyone else. What is everyone else doing now?
Well, he says that he watches Gwen stop, and Ivar just sort of stops, sort of looks confused between the party and him. What do I do? Looking back, looking forward.
If I may. Gwen would be like, as soon as she was recovered from her hard stop, she would jump up and start like making, hey, stop, like put both hands up, stop, don't keep coming, hold up. Not shouting, but like trying to make a big show of, hey, we need to give this guy some space.
Which means also for those of you that have not as sharp passive perceptions, you would at least catch Gwen now announcing this.
Yeah,
What to do?
good. I would yell back, what's going on? Figuring out, because I think I can. I'd like to know. I will stop though. Maybe like go a few more feet, but stop at once because I'm a good little Forbana. He keeps pressing the wrong button. Oh boy. Wait. Okay, that caught.
I mean, Kenna wasn't running down the hill, so Kenna's just staying where she was standing, and then I'm actually I just think towards Emba, and Emba's gonna keep going, but not directly at the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Emba's gonna go ahead and aim and basically go the direction that would be in front of where the guy is running.
Okay.
As if to not get in the way, but to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Also, not, Kenna immediately. Did I pick up on the pack that it may have like a lot of gear that I'm carrying too?
That you could see
in
from
a similar
distance.
fashion.
Yeah.
Wait, was Kenna one of the ones who was able to hear him, or just see that he waved?
The only people that couldn't were Hollow and Modine.
Roger. Okay. So yeah, I'll stay there, and I was just gonna go far out, in the direction that they're running, and
Emba's just over halfway there.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Okay.
Kenna just Jesus Christ. Kenna just thinks that he has some kind of trap prepared.
All right. And I suppose last but not least, Modine. Are you still trucking down the hill?
Tracking down the hill, but after hearing, I think it was Kenna, wasn't it? Gwen, Lars will sort of like keep like a healthy perimeter around the guy by running alongside.
So you start coming in at an angle.
Yeah, and Lars will then whistle to Portia to come back round to his side rather than chasing the bear.
Are you still dashing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you all kind of come to a screeching halt coming down this hill, you watch this guy high-stepping through the snow, and then he gets to a point where you suddenly see him dolphin leap into the snow, and he vanishes from sight. And then you watch as the bear continues its pursuit. And then after it catches up, right where he vanished, you hear a sudden groaning of trees, and you can see several of the trees at the base of the hill. You watch some of them kind of sway back and forth, and you watch as a trio of logs swing down on ropes and smash the bear from all three sides. There is a graphic spray of blood that sort of just turns a lot of the area from white to red, and the creature's just sort of slumped in the snow, not moving anymore.
That bear just got Ewoked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Don't say that.
What's an Ewok? No, I'm kidding.
All right, Al, you gotta leave. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. Where am I?
Might.
Does the guy come out of the
Yeah,
out of the dirt?
after a long, quiet moment, about 10 feet away from where you saw him dive in, you see just like a tuft of snow. And then eventually you see him sort of get up and start shaking off all of the snow. Getting up. And then he just like completely disregarding the mangled bear caught in his trap. He just turns and looks up at the hill at all of you and just kind of begins waving with a smile on his face. Hello, friends!
Ivar will wait back.
Throw my shield back over my shoulder and start heading down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Takes all of you several
Many questions to ask.
only a couple of moments to arrive at various intervals, but eventually you all get down there. Once you kind of get a bit closer, you get a much better view of this individual. As I mentioned to Ivar earlier with his amazing perception check, dark tan skin, very well bronzed. You can tell there's a bit of like weathering to it, as in he spends a lot of time outside and in the direct sunlight. A thick but well trimmed dark black mustache beard that basically rims his face and comes up into the sideburns. Hair that is slicked back and tied into a thick braid that vanishes underneath the white furred cloak that he wears. He carries a large, heavy pack that is not too dissimilar to Kenna's. He is adorned in a set of leather armor with several various animals pressed into it. It basically looks like a forest scene with a group of wolves hunting various other prey animals, including deer, rabbits, and boars. He has several bladed objects attached to him in various locations. A knife, which is directly on his left shoulder. He has several knives across his belt, including one long curved one. And then across his back, he currently has a bow staff, not strung, that's attached to the pack. He looks like what you'd expect someone who spends a lot of time in the forest and surviving off the land to look like. And he just has this big, beaming smile. He's got like a tooth missing on the right side in the gap of his teeth. But his brown eyes are very warm and welcoming, and he waves all of you over, again, completely disregarding the carnage he just caused over there. When you get closer, hello, friends. I didn't expect to find anyone else out here, especially given how dangerous the forest is right now. Hello, I am Lars. How are all of you doing?
Good, and you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. He turns, looks at his handiwork. Yes, I've been trying to deal with this bastard for a couple of days, and I finally managed to lure him into this trap I set up. Doing very good.
Have you encountered anything like this before?
I mean, in my lifetime, not really. In the last couple of weeks, yes.
I'm gonna look over at the bear. Are there crystals growing up from any of the splatters?
There are not any crystals you can see.
Okay.
Kenna walks up to the guy. What did you say your name was?
Lars.
Looks over to our Lars.
Shakes head.
We have a Lars too.
Oh! Well, hello, Lars. Always good to meet another Lars.
Yes, that is right. Impressive stuff with the bear.
Thank you.
Where do you hail from?
Oh, well, you know, I'm working in the countryside right now, but I was hired to come deal with some pesky problems, and I'm starting to realize that they were underselling what was going on here in this country. But I come from far down south, from the Wild Bay, which Lars, you're native to Belwind. Wild Bay is about a month's journey from Harbor. It is one of the other large coastal cities that has cropped up in Belwind. But the northwestern edge of the country is thick, dense forests, known for having dire wolves that occupy most of the space.
Yeah, I know of that place. Still a fair trip for you to come hunting and to be hired to do such a thing, but you seem to be very good at your job, so my commendations on your recent hunt.
Oh, well, thank you. And yes, I'm quite away from home, but they offered me very good money, and they said it was a unique challenge for a hunter of my skill set. And I'm
Wait.
beginning to understand this is slightly more than I was anticipating.
How long ago did you receive this notice of the issue?
Let me think. About 2 months ago? I've only been in the area for about 12 days. Somewhere there.
As everyone's conversing with him, kind of like moved around his back to look at his pack, and is just like not opening anything, but just like examining the stuff on his back.
You're seeing a lot of parallels.
Dyer, does this man have any silver on him that my spidey senses can pick up?
Well, unfortunately, your spidey senses don't work like that.
Cool.
Yeah, you don't have a silver detector built into you because you're like.
Sorry.
Whenever Lars is like turning to like talk to someone else briefly, Lars is shooting Kenna kind of like a bad look. Not because of that. Because it being introduced as Lars.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, oh no. But sorry, did you say 2 months ago he was hired? He was like not hired, but you know.
Yeah, 2 months. I received a missive from the Belwind Council. I'm telling you in character.
I'm telling you out of character that my internet just like broke for like that moment, so I need to know the answer.
I said
That's
yes.
quite a time ago. Interesting. I thought the problems were more recent here.
I wouldn't know. I'm not from these parts.
Neither am I, but well.
The quick zip trap of this area is with having to deal with blood crystals and creatures coming through portals into our own plane of existence. The trip to Stenholm has been very difficult from Direjakt, which is where we have come from.
As they keep talking, Kenna just interrupts before the man responds. Do you need any part of this beast to show that you killed it? Kenna just starts like walking over to the bear.
I'm just going to take a claw from it. Other than that, nothing else. If you're in any need, you are more than welcome to harvest. Although I wouldn't recommend trying to take anything from that.
I don't need to harvest it. I will get your claw. Kenna like moves on over to the bear. While they continue to talk, I want to see if I can inspect the carcass to see what kind of diseases, and I'm willing to use a spell for it. But I would before incinerating the rest of the body to ash, I would pull several claws out of it.
Yep. Well, so I'm going to point out something to you, because you're the first person to really get up close to this thing, Kenna. Once you get close, you realize why it was leaving a red streak behind it very quickly, and you come to the conclusion that this isn't actually entirely a bear. You get up next to it, and it is a creature that looks like it was stitched together from about a dozen other animals.
Monstrosity.
Varying from all kinds of animals as well. Now that you're this close, you actually realize it's weird. Its hind legs are the legs of an elk. Large elk. It's got this weird, like, lopsided gorilla shape to it.
Just feels sad noticing, like, seeing this. This should never have happened. And then basically go down to one of the bear paws and, well, begin to take 3 claws out. And then we'll spark bear the body. Are there different kind of claws in this paw? Is that what you're about to tell me?
There actually are, yeah. You just take whatever Kenneth thinks is right.
I don't know. I want to hear what kind of claws are in this paw.
Well, so it's interesting. Its outermost paw, its outermost claws on the paw claws, if you will, are what you'd expect. Long, curved, razor sharp, like bear claws. But the ones in the middle, it's unnerving because it's almost like a row of, like, they're claws, but they're arranged in such a way that they're almost like a row of teeth. They're very closely packed, and there's about 25 of them in between. And they look like smaller claws belonging to probably about 3 or 4 different animals. But they're all sort of just mashed together into this razor sharp just line of claws that were sewn into this section of the animal's paw. Its other paw is correspondingly similar.
Once again, another abomination in this forest. And I take the bear ones. Actually, I'll take 3 different ones. I'll take a bear one and, like, 2 of the other weird ones, and then I'll incinerate the body.
Yep. It catches real nice.
Well, Kenna does.
Move back.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, while Kenna does that, I want to just ask him: did you get any details as to what exactly you'd be hunting out here, or did you just find it when you got here?
I found it when I got here. They were very vague. They said there were a foreign species of unusual animals that had moved into the forest, and they needed a experienced hunter to deal with them. And when I got here and I saw this creature and a couple of other ones like it, it was not what I was expecting. They're very difficult to kill. Standard methods such as like bow hunting, it did not work.
How many others?
I've killed 4 since I've been here.
How long has it taken to kill them with such methods?
Several days in between. A lot of traps set up in preparation, and then trying to get their attention to lure them into them. They're a little bit smarter than they have you believe. But all of this has actually led to the fact that I think I've found the locale from where they were coming from, and I was going to try to go see if I can't find the source. If only to report it back to my employers, because I might not be able to deal with it myself.
Kind
Very
of
smart.
locale.
Okay, 1 person at a time, please.
Do you need help?
Well, I don't know. Can you be quiet? I'm very good at being on my own. That's why I don't have any friends right now. And given that I am not going there to, go out in the blaze of glory, as it were. I'm just going to get information and then report it back to my employer when I return.
Gwen just sort of bounces on her feet, and all of the armor clanks together.
Kind of locale was it?
Ivar walks up. Ivar walks up, the person who hasn't anything at all in this conversation. Some of us can be.
I mean, if you have a death wish, that's up to you. But it's a bit ways north. Pardon me, I got turned around after the bear chase. It's a bit ways southeast from here. You see how the hills have kind of started descending. There's an area where I saw some some deforesting going on, and I've found that there are some individuals in the forest as well. Some interesting boot prints over a group of individuals. And I suspect that they might have something to do with these odd beasties in the woods.
Where were those boot prints pointing? Last you saw?
Southeast? Along with, ranging outwards from that location. But due to their large numbers and more of these creatures, being nearer to that location, I have not wandered too closely yet. You understand?
It's very wise.
Of course. When someone sees you, could be strange. It looks nothing. I look to Kenna. They don't look anything like the other creatures we've seen the last couple days.
I'm still at the bear. You'd have to come over and talk to me.
Oh, is that a distance?
No, it's about 10 feet away.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
It's not that.
That's a dangerous trap to only have activate 10 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was on the edge.
He knew what he was doing.
So I asked that to Kenna as she is doing her bear things. Not bear things.
Bear fire.
Not bear fire.
It's like looks up with like a half incinerated body. No, this one is new. It's just as twisted. But it's new.
Different than the others. What are the odds that we can find? What are the odds that we keep finding such strange yet unrelated things? Presumably. The other creatures were weird, but...
Oh, you've experienced others?
We found portals to the, Merc. Creatures kept coming out of them.
Real nasty.
In my opinion, this one is far evil. Far more evil than those.
How so?
Well, somebody decided to... She gets real silent. And takes a deep breath. Someone's decided to stitch together several different types of animals.
What?
To create this beast.
Someone's making these.
Yes.
Gwen's face goes pale.
So, where the Merc is not a fun place to go, but at least it is of its own kind. Whoever did this did it on purpose. Which, doing it on purpose makes it worse than the crystal, I suppose.
Or the Merc creatures. Except the ones... This is awful. Oh, gosh.
Gwen looks around to the other members of the group, and then back to Lars, and says, "We're going to follow you into this."
Oh, no.
Everyone's quite clear about this, so seems we are going to do so.
At least so far as until we find who's been doing this.
All right.
Kenna, you had something to say?
And just stands up and turns around. As much as it hurts to say this, I don't believe we should.
I agree, simply because with and sort of gesturing to his rations, this might cost us an extra day, which we don't have.
It could
And-
cost a life.
Yeah, if they are managing to create living creatures such as this that are apparently quite hard to kill, really don't know what kind of magic or technology they're in possession of, huh?
And that doesn't bother me. We are out here to get to Stenholm for a reason. And that is not getting us to Stenholm. And it kind of looks to Mordahine. So as though my nature wants me to go deal with these people, I think we should just continue on.
Gwen looks at the mark on her hand and just nods. Very well.
A sigh of relief.
Can I just do an insight check on Kenna real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how bad is this, for her seeing this.
Yeah. How much does it wrestle her jimmies? Go for it.
Yeah.
Such a good phrase. I'm so glad you used it.
Oh, yes, I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite.
Professional Jimmy wrestler over here.
That's a 12 plus, that's a 13 overall.
Kyle.
My deception was a flat 13 as well because I get a +0. So, Kenna's holding it together on the outside pretty well, but I'd say if you rolled a 13 and say
Technically
you would-
beats the DC.
yeah, I would definitely say you recall certain events in the past that were not as bad as this, where it kind of took immediate action.
Yeah, Lars will, after seeing this, Lars will just say to the other Lars, one moment, please. He'll take Gwen by the forearm and just say, come with me, and bring Gwen over to Kenna, and just stand there just briefly and just go, listen, I don't like this as much as the next person, but I can tell with you, Kenna, this is not sitting very well. Now, I know we need to get somewhere, and that is paramount upon my sort of judgment, but at the same time, if this is something that is really hurting you, I don't want you carrying this into whatever we're going to be carrying it into, going into Oz Harbor. So, I am welcome to hear any suggestions from you guys if you want to deal with this, either now or after we get to Stenholm and be able to come back and deal with this, because I do not want this happening. I don't want this anger and frustration spreading through us and causing us any more problems.
You're absolutely right. We do need to keep moving. We can't stop to fight every battle that we come across, but she looks over at, I guess what's the mess of bones on the ground and smoldering remains.
Yeah, it came apart real quick once it was set on fire.
And the bones won't last long either, because in the past, when I've done it on bones, they've actually disintegrated too. It's a fresh start.
Mm-hmm. It's crackling like wood.
Just turns your stomach. I have a feeling that's not going to leave us alone if we walk away from it now.
If you want my personal input, following Lars just to see what's happening and gathering information, and then going away to sort of gear up for this, if we want to take it on, is a much better play than just rushing straight in like we always do.
Look at Kenna. Is this something you can... Is this something you're up for right now?
Just looking into the crackling bones. I'm gonna leave this call up to you. She just pauses. If I wish Nikolai were here right now.
Don't we all?
You have to remember. Well, you don't remember. You know, as we are traveling, now that I'm not on my own, I am finding that I have an impulse control problem. This is something that Nikolai told me.
You don't say.
And, well, I can tell you right now, I slaughtered a lumber camp for less than what this creature is.
Lars,
Ivar audibly blinking. What? You did what?
does Lars have his backpack on him?
I don't know where else it would be.
Let me see your rations.
Takes bag off to give. And I'll tell you directly, I have 5 rations now.
And how much further do we have left to go, Dyer? Based on my most recent calculations.
Yeah, so contrary to the map, you guys have, from this point forward, about another 12 days on the road before you get to Sten.
Ivar pipes up. I can handle the food.
Okay. Yeah, come here, Ivar. Come on.
We're only like 10 feet away.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Other Lars.
He could also hear the entire conversation.
You need to know that Lars likes a nice huddled group.
Who doesn't?
Hollow's gonna be looking at like, do I come? Do you guys gonna?
Gwen just like breaks up from the huddle and just like, yeah, come on. There's like the big like soccer coach gather them all in. Come on, kids.
Didn't know if you wanted or not.
Lars too is there like, huh?
So what's the?
Lars, what's your last name? Other Lars, not you. I point at the blonde one.
Stop calling me Lars.
Not you.
Please.
You. Mustache. What's your last name?
Mustache.
It's sort of rude.
I apologize.
What if I deserve to be called Mustache? I
It's a
introduced.
pretty good mustache, to be
It
honest.
is a
is.
very
It
good
is.
mustache.
I put a lot of effort into
just
grooming
really
it, but like,
There's 2 of you here, and I gotta distinguish. This one's Blondie or Sunshine sometimes, and I had to come up with something for you on the fly.
well, I'm
What's your
just,
last name?
I don't know. I'm just saying that whenever you call him Lars, he keeps frowning subtly. So I'm just, maybe you should stop calling him that. But you can just call me Teller if that has to be the case.
Thank you. Tell her.
Da.
Another German.
All these fucking Germans. How far? You said to the southeast. How far? Is this den that you are going to investigate?
About 4 hours from here.
That's easy. Hannah's going to do a good dress the whole party, and then look at Mordehine though, like kind of locking eyes with Mordehine. This is a decision, and then we'll like take a nod to Teller. There's some history with decisions like this.
I'm gathering the gravitas in the air. Don't mind me. Continue.
And then we'll look to Mordehine. This is a decision to help this gentleman, which I would be all for. Because, as you know, I hate that it's happening, but understand that if y'all decide that we should help him and follow him, and we see what is occurring there, it is going to be a lot more difficult for me to stand by and do nothing than if we don't follow him to begin with.
Teller, is this your last step of your contract? Will you be returning home after this, or are you going to stay out here?
I was going to gather some information, and then I was going to head back.
Okay. Are there any means in your hometown that you might be able to reach out to us by a spell or any other letter, anything, to give us an update once you're back to civilization and safe?
Which hometown are you referring to?
Wherever
Like
you're
when I go
going
back
to.
when I go back to Wild Bay, or when I go to Stenholm?
Oh, you're going to Stenholm. That makes it
That's
much
where
easier.
that's where my handler is. Yes.
Well, I know.
Right.
I know, Kenneth, that it may hurt, but information would help. And if we go back with Lars to Stenholm, like I say, it's better to be prepared than not. And we'll know what we're going to get ourselves in for if this is something which you feel you need to eradicate, which, trust me, I'm getting more than a feeling, and it's worse than sorting this out. It's getting to the bottom and overcoming this. So,
What if we don't all need to go? We don't all need to be there.
We need to stay together.
We can be
Okay.
scattered. Byre, how does Teller feel about this? This conversation?
Why are you asking me?
Ask him.
Somebody left. I was actually going to ask if I could roll an insight check to see if he seems how he
Yeah,
feels about the
you can
idea
roll-
of us.
You can roll an insight check.
Okay. Okie dokie. That's the number. It's a 6 plus 6, a 12.
Well, I mean, he doesn't look like he's actively trying to like hide or withhold anything. He seems like a pretty affable guy in general. He seems very nice and polite. A lot of energy. If anything, you're getting that he's looking at the group of you and coming to the conclusion that you guys have a lot of baggage. And you can
We've
sort
known
of
each other for 3 weeks.
Yeah, you sort of get a read that he's more or less actually trying to figure out how much longer this is going to take before he can leave.
if I'm perfectly honest, I think it's best if we meet up with Lars back at Stenholm. If you would like to meet us at a tavern for a drink, report to us, and we'll use that information if you want to proceed in this.
Yeah, where's
Or
your favorite bar?
whoever hired him to take care of this will take care of it on their own.
Indeed.
Nikolai did tell me that I can't fix every problem in the forest, even though I am supposed to.
I am just worried for your. I'm just worried for your Kenneth. That is all.
Gwen leans over and just discreetly wraps her hand around Kenna's lower forearm and gives it a squeeze, and then drifts back away. Where's Teller's favorite drinking place in Stenholm?
Tellers?
Yeah,
You're gonna make me come up with a tavern in Stenholm that we're not there yet?
you know I
Yes.
am.
You should have already made it up.
Yeah.
It wasn't
the bartender.
it
and
wasn't
his
my
family, too.
capital city, okay?
Yeah, no.
And we're gonna go.
Yeah.
there first.
Let's deflect that question over towards
Yeah, music.
music.
Yeah.
Hey, music.
No, rattle off some tavern names. You're getting put on the spot like a DM normally is. Come on, give me some.
It's called
Scream!
Tavern.
Why did all the names just leave my mind instantly? Yeah, woo.
Yep.
It's called
let's see.
Tavern.
Is he higher class, lower class, middle class? What does what does he favor?
He's a
Got
hunter.
one. Beds and blades.
That's a really good one. Sure.
Sure.
Beds and blades.
It's
Yep.
canon.
Stone and
Alright.
shovel.
Yeah.
So his favorite.
So it'd probably be some Far Street then. Yeah. There you go. Beds and
did it.
blades on Far Street. Canon.
Well, we'll be a day ahead of you. Getting back to Stenholm then, if we leave now and you head on. It's about 8 hours of travel all around. So, when you get in, we'll meet you at Beds and Babes. And
That's what I
That
said.
is not what it is.
Freudian slip.
we'll meet you there.
You're
Yes.
thinking of the other establishment? It's a couple blocks over.
Oh, the one right across the street. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
da. Rip Discord. Hang on. Give us there we go.
Rest in peace.
Discord decided to restart.
Leaving the conversation, like, okay, bye.
I did not sign up for this. Gone.
Yeah. Discord
It's
decided to
actually-
restart.
It's actually both owned by the same person.
They do crossover deals
Sam.
sometimes.
Horizontal growth, you know?
You can get a membership card that works at it.
You get one free dance for every night you stay at the.
Well, it's canon now.
So Lars looks over to other Lars with better mustache and says, "It seems we are in some sort of agreement to meet you at Stenholm after a day when we arrive, and we'll talk more then. What sort of drinks do you like, by the way?"
Honestly, well, fine. I guess I won't give my opinion.
No,
Ben,
I was just
you
gonna
all
say
are
I would
so
pay
pushy.
I was going to tell you I was going to pay for whatever you wanted for the full night for dealing with this. Anyway, but go on.
Yes, you all are a
Apologize.
handful. Like, I've known you for like 5 minutes, and I'm already exhausted.
Imagine 3 weeks.
Right?
And you know, besides, let's be honest. You guys are going to get a day ahead of me, and I could die. So you know, it's one of those. We'll talk when I get there. And if I don't get there, go find my handler, the person who contracted me. One Marshall Reams, and let him know. Probably
Marshall Reams.
Reams, yes.
Reams?
You're
Reems.
spelling that.
Okay, Reems.
Do you have
Got
an
it.
address for his office?
No, he's staying at the tavern.
Oh,
He's not the local.
nah, fair enough.
He is from Harbor normally. But, he is kind of acting as a handler for several individuals, such as myself, brought in from other countries, from other duchies to handle well, whatever is happening here that we're not willing to talk about.
Damn it, how did I miss this job listing?
What where were you coming from last? Before? North, west, south?
North, direct north.
Well, that's why. Because you know, problems tend to trickle down in Belwyn. So the reach out from Harbor went all around to the southeast, where there was a lot of people who aren't having issues, and we all traveled north.
Gotcha.
Tell me, Lars, have you been to Harbor recently?
Yeah, I stopped by on my journey out here.
And how's the situation there at the moment? I haven't been in a while.
It's Harbor. What do you expect? It's doing fine. Big city, lots of people. People seem happy. No military uprisings. No monsters coming in from the sea. No blood rain. No, nothing crazy.
That's fine. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes, are these all things happening in other places?
No, I was trying to list funny cataclysmic things that you hear about in stories. But I'm sure they've happened somewhere.
So it looks like we have a meeting. We'll let you get on your way, and we'll get on with ours. But for the future, Imarzusaman, and good luck. The salute.
Well, safe journeys to you all as well.
Happy hunting.
Thank you. And he'll come around and do a handshake and a shoulder pat. And then he will gather some things left over from his trap and begin. Honestly, it's one of those awkward moments where you both are like, "Oh yes, let's ready," and you both end up walking in the same direction.
They're all
So, what did we decide on?
We're going to go on to Stenholm. He's going to go back and find whoever's for more information on this. Hopefully we'll be meeting up there.
For once, we've decided to do the smart thing.
You all have a very low opinion of yourselves, you know that?
Well, comes with the territory.
Of what?
This group.
I don't
It
have
would
a
make
low
more
opinion of
sense if
myself.
you understand. I have learned new phrases before we depart. I am what has been called a druid. And generally was raised that any slight against nature is a slight against myself and has to be fixed. So in the past, I have acted as I normally would, alone, but with a group of people I've been told seems rather impulsive. And it has gotten people injured. And so, trying not to do that right now.
Gwen's just nodding sagely.
Yes, I think that is what we call growth.
Ivor's sitting there in the corner like, this makes so much sense.
It only hurts because the situation you have described is worse than all of the others we have encountered before.
And I don't think it to be getting any better.
As things tend to go.
I'll say that. Okay, so
Your lives sound just so dour and terrible. You should really go change that.
well, my
Well,
life
that's
is
all right.
great until this last week, but please do not to die so that we can go fix this later.
I have no intention on it.
Perfect. Is wading through this snow difficult for you? Is it taxing?
I mean, as hiking and living in the forest often is.
I wouldn't know.
You do have like 4 feet on you.
It is true. How tall is this guy?
Do we even know?
I definitely overdid it on the exaggeration for the height difference. He's just under 6 feet.
Okay.
I'm so shortest. Cool.
That is fair.
He seems like a type to exaggerate, so it makes sense.
This man probably has great fish stories.
I think it's almost at the end of our 2 hours. If you want to wait for 10 minutes, you can. You'll see. And Kenna just goes to the ritually cast water walk, and include him in it.
Yeah,
We're technically still in water walk. But, you know.
he'll hang out and entertain
we've
with
already been sitting here
with some hunting stories in the meantime.
Yeah.
From his homeland of Wild Bay.
Right. 10 minutes will go by, and I will ritually cast that, and he is included.
Gwen is totally Gwen has totally been trying to one-up him with the hunting stories.
I am listening to these both. I am asking questions. I am listening.
Okay, that's all.
Lars is just checking out his hunting weapons and stuff like that, and already thinking they're far inferior to what he carries.
Rude.
Not saying it though.
I don't know. After a long enough observation, Moldaheim, you start to think that he's probably actually made all of these by hand. Especially after you get a really good long look at that long curved knife on his belt. It's made out of one solid piece of bone.
I would have asked him.
Wow.
I would say, like, what did you feel to make such a beautiful curved knife?
Direwolf. The biggest of the pack, the alpha. He was
You used all of its body.
Oh, of course. I have a wonderful cloak that I made for me and two of my brothers. We had meat for the winter. It was great. And several of the bones have actually been turned into weapons, farming implements, and so on and so forth. We did not let much in the way of animal go to waste.
That right there
Yeah.
just puts you leagues beyond other humans.
Well, it's a life is a give and take. I took, so we give back. And that being said, the wolf he was encouraging raids on nearby villages and stuff, so we had to head
Did
off.
you already tell this story?
No, this is new. He did in
there's
fact tell a
this
story
story?
about it. He did in fact tell a story about a sea monster.
Fuck yeah.
Well, Lars would be interested in that.
Oh, how did you hunt the direwolf?
With a
Sparkles, I sparkle.
With a bow.
Let's see. As much as I'd like to sit and talk, I think this is a story for the tavern down the road. So I'm going to take this nifty gift. He's kind of been bouncing in place in the snow. And I'm going to make some good time while I have advantage of this magic. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
well, if you guys don't need anything else from me, I'm going to get moving. For the record, if you are going through the forest, and you're heading south because you're going towards Stenholm, if you see dangling from a tree a single red leaf, don't go through the intersection the tree is a part of.
I assume you
Noted.
trapped it.
Gwen commits that to memory.
I have several of them around here in the area due to the animals ranging out from the place I'm now going to. And I didn't want them to get further towards people. Yeah, just keep an eye out for those.
Fair enough.
Right? Well,
Very well.
good travels. He kind of
Safe hunting.
he moon jumps out of there. Like he takes big steps where he indents into the snow a little bit, but the magic repels him back up and kind of bounces away. He's enjoying it.
Lars will watch and watch until he's gone, and turn around to Kenra and go, "Uncool. My name's Motorheim."
Cool, bro.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Just give this guy moon shoes. Sorry.
I was excited. We don't have repeat names in my clan. So having two of you next, you see, I'm sorry. I'll make sure it doesn't happen in Stenholm.
That's fine. As long as I'm a better Lars than he is, I don't really mind.
Of course, you're better Lars.
You're our favorite Lars.
kind of still a bit angry about it and trudging through the snow.
Been told much stories back at camp. Would it make nighttime a little less boring?
Moving to forward.
And you
How's it
go
walking?
forward.
I just like how Ivar got a bunch of just random knowledge thrown at him after he left the White Cross Company.
I like to imagine he's still just audibly blinking.
Yeah, no, because you can't see his face, and so you couldn't see the sort of confused, huh? You what? What? And like head turn. But then he sort of pieces it together. It's like, oh, that makes sense.
Just a fish from
Why do you think I
SpongeBob.
went like, wait a minute. Ivar's here. Okay, I don't want to have to dump everything right on him as he is joining today, but like, it looks like that's what we're gonna do.
I also like, by the way, that Kenna that what Hargy just said is Kenna's life was great before she became a D&D PC.
Tends to be how it goes.
Yeah.
Her life is still great, except for the fact that none of y'all know how to walk through a forest.
Oh well, it's easier
I
than
know how to walk
walking in
through
a
a forest.
city.
I don't know how to walk through a snowy forest. There's a difference.
Right.
If nature weren't trying to
Yeah,
kill me,
yeah.
I'd be fine.
So we're gonna continue on.
Yep.
We're gonna continue on.
And we're gonna take our first break right there.
Nice.
Good. Perfectly timed.
Nailed it. So yeah, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna take 55. Let's, I don't know, a 10-minute break. That sound good to everybody?
That's
Sure.
good.
You somehow brought back that social
Very good.
interaction from being very bad to
Be back.
okay, there's a light side on that.
We'll be right back. I did not arrange music, so please enjoy the casual forest music.
I'll have to look up behind the name. BRB.
Hello.
Hello.
I was trying to think of like it's Lars for short. If you want to go for like a more traditional female name, and then I just thought about like that chick from Kingdom Hearts Arc Scene. So that's like the girl.
Once Kyle and Owl arrive back, we will begin again. And
Is Ryan here?
Ryan? Yeah, I
Ryan.
don't know. He turned off his cam because I'm assuming he was eating.
His camera. Yeah. Didn't mute. Weird. Yeah.
It's Lawrence. Unless you call me, it's just like so hard. I can't think of a good Lars for short. Maybe it's like people just call me Lars, and it's for short for, and it's like what? I don't know. I forgot what Lars was short for. Everyone just called me Lars.
It could be a weird spelling of Laureline.
Now I'm thinking about
Laureline.
Phineas and Ferb. It's like Ferb is short for, and it's like I don't know what some random noise happens on screen. We don't know what it's short for, but it is short for something.
Okay, we got one.
I like the splash screen that you've got, by the way, for we're going to be back soon.
Thank you.
What is it? Oh, I can just check.
Well, you could.
I can't just check.
I'm back.
I will be changing it shortly because
No,
Kyle's
no,
back,
no.
which
Oh,
means
wow,
I'm waiting
that's
for
nice.
Owl.
That's nice.
Come on, Maddie.
You just gotta get the font for the minutes.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Because
Sorry, I'm crawling back.
everything
in the
else
hole.
is static, but the minutes is an input.
okay. So you're gonna leave it like the input, so it just like is like the one you think. Okay, never mind.
Because the font that I'm using, I don't know if I can install it for Streamlabs to recognize, is basically what I'm getting at.
Oh, I thought it was like just so it's like the thing that you notice the most, the thing that stands out, which is like the most important thing. I don't know. Look, I make a lot of incorrect comments here and there. We all know this. Correct comments is, are we ready?
Can stream hear us right now?
We're ready.
Tyre,
I'm sorry?
can the stream hear us right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they've always been able to hear us.
No, I had you deafened for the break.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing the break screen and music while we're on break.
Yep, it's the best thing to do.
And until I can, because again, I wasn't planning on running today until late yesterday. I'm also going to be separating an audio channel so I can just turn off you guys talking and just have music play. So that way I can still talk to you and the input not go into the stream.
Cool.
That bit right there is what I didn't know if you'd set up yet or not.
Not yet, but I'm intending to.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, we're back.
Oh, we're back.
Yes.
Hmm?
Hello.
Yeah. So as we set off,
Yeah.
Ivar would like to sneak on over to Lars. Our Lars.
Yeah, the other Lars ain't here anymore. You're fine.
And yep. And he'll quietly lead in. Your friend did what? Something about a camp?
Arsonist says what?
Oh, you are referring to Kenna?
Yes.
I really would ask her yourself. She would be able to tell you without any fear of lying to you about such a thing, but it was.
Oh.
It was very important character development.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you this, Ivar, I do trust Kenna to do the right thing. She has been an immense ally to me, but not only me, but to the group as well. She is incredibly powerful. She has wisdom beyond any of us when it comes to natural things, and her instincts of just being wild and as an animal is second to none. But yeah, I mean, she can manipulate fire.
You say that. He doesn't say anything. He just walks up to Kenna. Tap, tap. What was that about you slaughtering a camp?
Yes. It happened.
Why?
Because they deserved it. This is all why we're still walking.
Do I hear this conversation happening?
Doesn't sound like it's being quiet.
I'm keeping tabs on it.
What did they do to deserve it?
Kenna just doesn't answer for a minute. So keeps walking. And we'll just kind of stop, turn around, and basically stare right into Ivar's face or eyes, if I don't know if she can see them. Since we were trying to get somewhere, whether with time, simple answer is they killed my family. And if you want to know the details later, I will tell you later. And she'll turn around and keep walking.
He keeps walking and then faces himself. But then just continues walking. Nothing more. Oh boy.
Welcome to the club.
The entrance
So
exam is
sorry.
committing one war crime. Well,
So I'll have you know, I've not committed any war crimes.
we're not going to talk.
Debatable.
We're not going to talk about the village full of werewolves you've left behind.
I'm sorry.
I'm clean.
You're a spy.
You're a spy.
What's the war? What war
Here
crime
we go
have I
again.
commit? What war crime have I commit?
All right, children,
All
Calm
right, we
down.
continue.
We continue.
you
We walk.
continue. Walking through this otherwise quieted forest
And keeping an eye out for any tree with one single red leaf.
and keeping an eye out for any trees with a single red leaf. Although, because again, you have a group full of people with very high passive perceptions. Gwyn and Ivar both noticed the first one. And he did so in a way that was actually fairly obvious for a being with high enough intelligence to recognize as this is weird. There is a red leaf It looks like a 5-pointed maple leaf. It's tied to a string hanging from a branch. So it's literally just kind of dangling midair, this bright red leaf. It's very hard to miss. And then you can sort of see the area that would probably be most appropriate to have arranged some sort of trap in. And you can circumvent the area. Unless someone wants to be crazy enough to try to inspect to see what kind of trap he's arranged.
No, I'm good.
You'll make it.
Yeah, like, let's not touch that. Not touch.
Look, I'm not trying to suffer the fate that the AT-AT did, okay?
He went to the Ewok School of Forest Traps.
Ewok School of Forestry.
Okay. After finding the first one, you kind of spot the other ones as you continue along. About 2-3 hours pass. The weather is amenable. There's a bit of a wind that's kicked up, but the snowfalls more or less remain the same throughout the day. I need to bump you guys through the calendar clock real fast. Oh, look, you're actually finally getting in the sunlight. Isn't that crazy? Long winter months, am I right?
For real.
Can't wait to be in the tropics.
Can't wait for summertime.
You guys are in the wrong country.
You guys ready for a hot goblin summer? Anyway.
Okay.
You knew what you were.
Anyway.
You know what you were
I'm
saying.
excited.
Okay. Several hours of
Claim
hiking
innocence.
through the forest pass, and after avoiding 3 different various trap intersections, you discover in the distance you're coming down the small ridge. One of basically the only safe location in which to descend from this high-rise point you're on. And as you are partway down, you can see below you, about 50 feet down, but about a couple hundred feet off yet still, several figures cloaked in black, moving through the snow and the trees. And you can tell, you're not sure what, but all of them have chains behind them, and they're dragging something through the snow. But because of the snow being as high as it is, you can't quite tell what they're dragging. There's a group of about 6 of them, and they're heading.
Can I get any smells off of what's going on here?
Perception. I suppose the direction of the wind matters here too.
It's always a 17 and something else.
Can you re-describe what we're seeing?
So, you guys were on this high rise that kind of drops off very abruptly, but you found a small switchback that you're traveling down in order to get to the next lower part of the forest to continue traveling southward. While you were about partway down, so you're about 50 feet up, you can see further down below where the drop-off happens, through that area that's forested and all the snow, there are 6 black cloaked figures that stand out very starkly against the white snow. They have chains that look like they're draped over their shoulders, and they're hauling things through the snow. You can hear the sounds of something dragging behind them. It's difficult to tell what due to how high the snow is.
Does it seem like they're each dragging something different, or they're all dragging one thing?
They have different things on each chain.
Okay.
And Gwen, you said the 17?
Dirty 20, actually. 17 roll.
Okay.
Plus modifier.
Okay. The 20 is very good. And the wind is in your favor. Lucky dice roll. The wind, this very strong wind that you guys have been walking through for some time, carries the scent to your nostrils, Gwen, and you can't smell anything else other than this unpleasant, almost sour metallic scent. And it fills your nostrils and it kind of permeates onto your tongue.
Try
It
metallic.
is weird in that your animal instincts tell you smell blood. But the human side of you is telling you that there's also something more perverse about the scent than just blood.
Are the tracks they're leaving in the snow, is there any stain or anything that I can see from here in there? Of the dragging.
You guys are too far away.
Okay. But I know for a fact, or at least with some certainty, that part of what I smell is blood.
Yeah, no, you know you smell blood. But there's just something more to it that you don't comprehend, but your senses are going, this is whatever it is, it's that.
Can I try to determine what that other smell is? Just like hone in on it and try to
Just on the
trace that back
20?
to anything. Yeah.
No, unfortunately
Okay.
not. What do all you do?
I inform the group of what is smelling on over there.
Is there like a route to possibly bypass this that Lars can see?
To avoid them?
Yeah.
If you guys literally just kind of chill here on the slope for a couple of minutes, they'll have walked out of sight.
Are they going in the direction that was the general direction where Lars Teller thought the thing was?
Roughly. You guys have been heading directly south. They're heading directly east. Lars did tell you roughly that the place he believed things to be coming from was in the southeast. So, simple math adds up to yes.
Lars will whisper over to Kenna and say, could you get a creature to tip him off about things coming his way?
It would take me 10 minutes.
It'll give them time to leave and give us time to notify him. I believe it's a good trade-off, don't you think?
Something about that just sets my hackles on edge. There are 3 of them in the group?
In the group, there are 6.
There are 6.
There are...
How big?
Like the individuals?
Yeah.
Varying sizes. All humanoid in size, all humanoid in shape.
All right.
From like 5 feet and up. The tallest one is somewhere in the high 6 feet range. So no Goliath or anything.
I'm gonna take a quick peek and see if and see if there are any animals within eyesight.
Make perception check.
Specifically birds. Okay. I rolled a 14. The perception of 4 for an 18.
With your nature-minded eyes peering about, there is a distinct lack of animals in the area.
I whisper back to Lars. Never mind, there are no animals that I can send a message through. And this angers me even more.
Lars just sort of shakes his head and looks towards Portia. We have one.
What size is Portia?
Medium.
I can't. Does not work. Out of character, I'm saying, yeah, the size limitation is Portia's too big.
Okay.
Does it look like they're all carrying, like they're all chained to one thing, or?
No, they're on different things.
Mm.
What do you want to do?
Mordahan, we either let them leave or we fight them.
Well, he said so himself. As long as we report it back to his handler, they could still deal with this.
That consigns him to die, though, or accepts that he might.
And Lars seems to know.
We could
Lars, go on. Sorry, go on.
we could observe them a bit. See maybe about what they're carrying.
That is a fair shout.
They are now starting to get out of range of sight.
How long have we been traveling since before we ran into Teller?
Before you ran into Teller?
Yeah.
So how long have you traveled the whole day is the question?
Excluding 1 hour, yes.
You've been traveling for 6 hours.
Okay. Good to know. That means Emba is not with us.
Lars will just sort of point out the fact, if you follow them, we're just going back the way we came, something which we cannot afford. We either fight them here, or we carry on and let Lars deal with them. He seems to be able to look after himself fairly well against the creatures he's been up against. But I would rather err on the side of caution and keep moving forward with our mission.
I just hope they don't find him on the way back.
He's good at hiding.
Then let's wait and continue.
We all in agreement?
Can it not?
Aye.
And we wait for them to pass and we'll carry on.
You wait about 10 minutes before there is no more sound of them. And you can finish your descent down onto the floor below and continue heading south. Eventually, you will cross over their path. And you learn a couple of things just at a glance. One, this path is well trodden. They've come back and forth using this path multiple times. The snow is packed down quite a bit. There are signs of old and new blood streaked through this pathway. And there are various indentations in the snow for different shapes and sizes. But at a glance, you can find patches of fur, broken teeth, pieces of antler, things of that nature, feathers, signs that animals are what they are dragging. But also, all of the trees that are near to this pathway have all had numerous slash marks carved into them. And they form something that looks a little bit like the lime green. I'm going to paint this in is going to take away some of the dramatics of it. But Looks something like that.
Is that a symbol that any of us know?
Anyone proficient in religion can make a check.
What? Oh, well, I'm not. Nope.
So no one. Gotcha.
I have a feeling.
Is that at all similar to the
Oh, we should go to
symbol
church.
that I have?
No, it is not similar to the symbol you have.
Mhm.
I have a feeling.
For a second, I'm just gonna put this
If
over here.
I don't have proficiency in religion, but if I tell you a hunch and it might be similar, can I roll?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Does it have something to do with the Grave Titan's message?
What was the message?
Dealing with the butcher.
You're in the right vein. I can just confirm that for you. Kenneth's thoughts aren't incorrect. But you rolling on this still, you can't produce the knowledge because Kenneth just is not in the right circle to know what that is or who it's from.
No.
But you're definitely can definitely put those two together. That seems like a reasonable enough leap in logic.
Yeah. I don't know what that emblem is, but everything else going on makes me feel like it is tied to that emblem.
You mean the Merc and all?
No.
Hmm.
And I didn't say any of that out loud anyways.
Oh, okay.
My
I couldn't
computer-
tell.
My
Could not
computer
tell.
died for a second. How far
Hi.
ahead did they run? Did they go? Did we let them go?
They're gone.
They're gone.
Okay.
They're out of sight.
Well, something to remember then.
We want to track backwards. Follow the path they came from.
Are we in water walk right now? This is just to know if we have we're leaving footprints.
No, you guys traveled for several hours, and I was not given a prompt to re-water walk. So I'm going to assume you're on one of the off hours. So you're walking through snow currently.
Yeah, it's every other hour. I'll ritually cast it, but I'm not going to stop for 10 minutes out of every 50 minutes, or out of every 60.
Oh dear. I do hope they don't notice our footprints here as well. Feet look like native animals.
Well, if we continue going, it probably won't be a problem. If we continue going, it won't be our problem anymore. Not right now.
Funny choice of words.
Yeah.
Hate all of this in character and out of character because I have a feeling I know what's going on and it's irritating me that we're not going to destroy it.
Gwen
Oh well.
and Ivar, as your group is sitting there conversing, both of you notice, you hear it first, and then out of the corner of your periphery, you see it. Coming up this path that has been carved out of the snow and stained red, you see a large, hulking creature with an awkward gait currently coming down the pathway.
From where they came from or from where they went?
From where they came from. It's heading the same direction they were.
Let's continue
Currently directly
going.
towards you.
Yeah, no,
Let's get out of its way.
yeah,
Let's
start
continue going.
informing people and herding up the hill away from here into cover.
You guys are heading downhill for the record.
Downhill into cover.
Just continue on our path and
So that
get
sounded
out of
like-
the intersection.
That sounds like a stealth check then?
Yeah.
Stealthy,
Okay.
wealthy.
Stealth checks,
Well,
people.
Oh.
You know, at some point, my luck has to run out with dice rolls.
Nat 20
We're gonna
or
run out this today.
We're gonna find out.
Well, what's my mod? It is a 2. Okay. Dyer, that is a 8.
Nice.
17.
I love Ivar is supposed to be stealthy. Has had bad stealth rolls. Besides hiding from his own party.
I rolled a 21. Porsche is 17.
When?
Oops. I still have
2
that.
plus 2.
Sorry.
4.
I mean, oh no.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something cool that I might be able to do with that, but seems like everyone else is having a bad time too.
Oh.
Thank you. Assuming that was Dyer.
What?
Oh, it wasn't him.
Nope.
All right.
Come on, be blind, be blind. Don't see us, be blind.
Absolutely not.
It comes awkwardly trundling down the pathways. You all sort of pass down and then hide onto the slight slope just on the other side, trying to find respective places to hide behind trees, brush, under snow, and hope this thing doesn't notice you. As it gets closer, its size was very misleading, in that once it's gotten this close, it's actually much larger than it looks due to how it walks. It has one enormous front right leg. It looks like it was previously the whole body of another animal turned into a leg, grafted on with other numerous appendages at the stump to give it more or less something akin to fingers or toes to support itself on. The large center part of his body is a lot of wiry muscle with other things overlaid on top of it. All this stitched together with this unpleasant, bloody gut work. On its head, it has the remains of 2 huge elk antlers. And you can see that its mouth is 3 different jaws sort of hinged together. So its mouth opens in 3 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just dragging itself along with its big front leg, dragging the rest of it behind it. And it gets pretty close to the vicinity to you all when it stops. And it turns, and some of you catch a glance. It has one large green eye on one side that's rapidly looking in all directions. And then you see from 2 other places on its body, stitches tear, and several more eyes appear as it begins looking around it in different perspectives, trying to find what it's sensing nearby.
How close is it to Ivar?
How far off of the road would you have gotten? Maximum is your total movement speed. So are you 30 feet away, or are you 5 feet away? Or somewhere in between?
Probably somewhere in between, so let's round it out with a 15.
It's 15 feet away.
I am very close to it.
Yes. Okay. Looking around, can I try as quiet as possible to cast blindness, deafness on it? It's only a verbal component, so I'm trying to whisper this out. But I know that's dangerous.
I think mechanically it breaks stealth. Anyways, right?
I'm just going to tell you there is a risk that casting the spell will draw its attention. Do you want to blind or deafen it?
I am going. I would like to blind it.
Okay.
Well, kind of hears this, and
yeah.
I'm gonna need a music change.
I had a feeling. It was worth a shot.
Well, I got to roll. Y'all got to calm down.
I mean, like, if Kenna knows this is going down, Kenna's not gonna just like walk away. Like we're about to throw hands there.
Well, I don't know yet, so give me a second to see how this unfolds. What's the DC? 16? It is going to fail. You will watch as multiple of its beautifully colored eyes turn a milky white. But it doesn't like that. And it lets out this unpleasant, gurgling roar. Several of the trees around you shake, and snow falls onto the ground around all of you. For better or worse, until we know how this is going to unfold, please roll some initiative.
Yeah, boy. Oh, my dice just went AWOL.
Why do I roll so low when it comes to
Me, like the last several sessions of combat. Remind me, do I get disadvantage or not? Because I keep forgetting.
Yes,
about
it's
initiative.
Initiative is an ability check.
Alrighty.
19 total for me.
I also got a 19.
Fine.
We can not.
I want to wait for my token to appear so I can click it on my token.
You guys,
Okay,
you guys are capable of dragging your own tokens out of the journal. You guys are aware of that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Is this a combat that we didn't have, that Dyer didn't have planned?
Well, he did say he did not have things planned yesterday.
Technically speaking, no. I've had this leg planned for like 3 weeks. Because the last week's game was canceled, so I knew what I was doing. However, I had multiple I had multiple combats planned. However, I didn't know where you guys were going to end up, so I couldn't just have multiple maps ready. That was going to be a bit of a
I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna assume that you thought we were gonna take the bait to go.
Absolutely.
With Teller.
Yeah.
I was relying on you guys to go with Teller. I have a lot of stuff prepared in that direction.
So as soon as you said deforestation, I was like, this motherfucker out here trying to get me trapped into this Arcook.
I didn't plan on you guys being so selfish. Because you guys had literally walked in to kill every other evil thing on your way here, so I figured, why not one more stop? But here we are. So you guys now have to deal with the random things you're going to walk into on your way to Stenholm versus dealing with the things that I've placed in other locations.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you're like, how am I going to put this combat in now?
So allow me to just quickly sketch up a super hasty
impromptu map making.
Basically.
That's the one thing that this group is definitely good at making you do is impromptu maps. We never fight on your maps. Never. Always on the outside.
When's the last time we fought in one of those dire maps?
Yeah, I mean, in defense of that, I do occasionally, like, just kind of move the fight directly in front of you guys anyway.
Yeah.
For the sake of actually using the maps and not having to hand draw maps, because hand drawing maps I'm pretty okay with, but sometimes it's just like the mild inconvenience because I have to stop in the middle of the flow of the game for me to do all that.
Is the square stones?
No, the squares are trees.
Cool. Understood.
I just don't feel like drawing scribbly trees.
Minecraft trees, bro.
I'm gonna stick all you guys on the road real fast, so I can just copy paste all these boys.
Oh, we're in a tree. Now I feel at home.
You're one with
my
nature.
Home's gone. My home is gone.
My total roll was 9 for initiative, which puts me at the moment bottom.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and use. Thank you. Perfect.
Portia goes on Mordehai's turn.
Yeah.
Harvey, what's your dex?
I don't use dex for initiative.
Basically,
My
what's your
initiative
what's your initiative bonus?
A +4.
Ah, fuck you.
Uh-huh.
You go first.
At least all my Paul rolls are initiative.
I was right. Look at that name. God, I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
So smart.
Good boy. I'll give you a
Smart
cookie.
boy.
What about a 4th inspiration point? Does that equal a cookie?
Not even close.
Oh, is that worth
Oh,
2
You can't even
cookies?
have it. What do you mean?
Only big
You
brains
can't
here.
have a 4th inspiration point.
You
No
can if you
smooth
do a
brain.
super meta homework, which he hasn't offered yet, sir.
No, you got no. So yes and no, but you guys are technically stuck because you have a cap of your proficiency bonus. You don't go above that because you have a cap. Occasionally, I'll give a point that breaks people's caps if I really feel like it's worth it.
Oh, I just know I'm waiting for a super homework because if you do one, it does go above a cap.
It can. It can.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I've been uninspired about them. But then again, I have a bunch I did for my first game I can just give to you guys. That being said, please place yourselves on the map, roughly in the location you believe you would have been hiding in.
Is north south and south north? How's this working?
This is oh, actually, so he would be over here. So yeah, this is cardinal directions, north, northeast, southwest, as it is.
Cardinal matches map. All right.
Yeah. And these are and all the squares are true.
I said I would be there. Yeah, I said I would be there, so I'm there. Because I have to be within 30 feet for blindness deafness, and I said 15 feet, which is close enough. Is that?
Okay. So, you can go up or down?
Yep. You basically have to decide
your movement speed.
Yeah. So yeah, up to a maximum of your normal movement speed, not dashing. Because it's assumed that you would have 30 feet and then you hide action.
In which direction would have we been traveling in?
You guys are traveling south.
Okay, yeah. So
But you came from the north.
Traveling down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I feel Lars would have been around about here.
I'm just
like,
gonna roll
near
a
the
dice for
front.
Brooks. Hey, he also went south.
Oh, you know what? No, I'll be more towards this
He can be
side.
behind this tree. Yeah. Brooks is hiding behind that tree.
He's in the tree.
Well, so
He's a good
assume
boy.
it's the canopy and the centermost square, or the square closest to it would be the trunk.
Okay, cool. Cool. I can get down with that.
I had a map that I made that I actually went out of my way to show that, but you guys won't see it. So,
Not yet.
Gwen, would you like to move?
I'm
No,
thinking
Gwen's
about
just
that.
gonna stare. Gwen's just gonna stare it down. I can't see anyway.
Gwen, would you
Right,
like to
bro.
move? I don't know. Probably not.
You're just gonna stand there? That's a bold choice, Cotton.
Is it? I'm thinking, like, is this all of the off the path? Is that all difficult terrain?
No,
Okay.
none of it is difficult terrain.
Sneaky.
We're keeping this real simple.
So sneaky. Okay, I'm good.
You sure?
Oh man, Kenna. Oh man.
I said as soon as this is going down, we're about to throw hands. I don't know why you're surprised.
And
Actually, let
Erica.
me amend this a little bit.
Okay, fine. You have 10 seconds to amend it while I roll in Thrix. And the monster.
Okay, all good.
Well, the monster did pretty well.
See how good this was gonna be.
Right in the
I
middle.
rolled a 4. I don't get to move.
Oh, yeah.
You rolled a 4?
I rolled a 2 plus 2, 4 total.
So we're gonna put
I don't
No,
get to
4 for stealth, not
Oh,
4 for
yeah,
stealth, not
yeah.
for initiative.
What was your initiative?
19, but I got
Oh,
a
okay.
higher initiative.
So I
that's
just
what-
put mine
Yeah,
as like,
that's what the weird number was. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, so everyone's
Oh,
initiative's accurate.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Look
Yes.
at me at the bottom. Nice.
Yes, indeedy.
All right. All of you were in some form of stealth, hiding from this monstrosity that had lumbered through the pathway. Wait, did Gwen move herself back onto the road?
Yeah.
So you were on the you were on the road the whole time?
No.
Can't
Like,
be.
The
You couldn't have
decision, yeah,
stealthed if you were on the road.
yeah, you had to dip somewhere else. You didn't stay on the road.
Fine.
Thank you.
Oh, we'll stop.
In some form or another, hiding. However, it would have been noticeable by, again, most of you with your very keen perceptions, that Ivar began weaving a spell, and then its effects taking pretty obviously upon observing many of its brightly colored animal-like eyes turning milky white. And you sprung into action, so Kenna.
Yep.
It's your
That's the
turn.
thing. Yep.
What you doing?
I hate that I don't have bonus actions. It's really upsetting.
That's a personal problem.
Yes. Seeing that it went blind, I'm going to I'm gonna run up to it. We're gonna see how this goes, but I'm gonna run up to it.
Okay.
And I'm going to Wildfire Soul. Oh, actually, no, I can't do that. I am going to summon Ember.
Yeah, you get one or the other.
Well, I forgot Wildfire does a wild shape, and I only have one true wild shape left.
Yep.
So I'm going to summon Ember behind him. Boop. Right there. Nope. There we go. So I need a dex saving throw from him.
All right.
From the Amalg.
That's subpar. That is a 12.
Okay. That is going to fail, so it takes 2d6 fire damage.
Okay. Give me the damage.
It doesn't take any extra on this one, so that's 9.
Okay.
And bonus action is to control Ember, so it is going to because can I tell that it's blind?
All the visible eyes that it
Milky
has,
white.
yeah, they
Okay.
look milky white.
Well, I know how senses work, but so basically, across from me, Ember will like summon up from through the snow, and there'll be like a fire blast, and then he's gonna teleport to another side to make another fire blast.
Okay.
And it's gonna appear here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is going to be another dex save.
That is a failure. I rolled a 5.
So this is a d6 plus proficiency bonus, which is I actually rolled a 6, and plus 3 is a 9, so it's
9.
another 9.
Nice.
All right.
9.
So that's that turn.
That's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Go in.
Oh, you said my name. Hi.
I might have.
What side is the big leg on?
It's right.
Here?
No, it's facing Kenna.
Ah,
Not
fuck
here.
you. Okay.
I mean, fine. If we really want to do this,
have-
we can keep track of
Okay. I never learned my left from my right, just so you know. Can I get at it from this square?
that. This square.
Yeah, this square. Or do I need to be like over here?
It's a really big arm, so I mean, yes.
I need a good leverage point though.
Mm. You got to make your choices, girl. I'm just gonna mitigate. I'm just gonna tell you how things unfold.
Fair enough, Tyre. Thanks for being real with me. Is this a viable movement right here? It's 30 feet between kids.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but yeah.
Okay.
You know, you ever parked slightly too close to a car and you kind of have to squish out and rub your butt against the other person's vehicle? You're going to do that, but with the butcher amalgam.
Honestly, I've never rubbed my butt against anybody's anything, but there's the first time for everything.
Apparently not.
All right, right here. I'm gonna squeeze in here, and I want to assess the. How's that stitching look? He is stitched together, right?
In various places, yes.
Okay. How does the stitching on the big leg look?
Well done. Made
like
from a thick, unnatural but fleshy substance.
Just
Okay.
smack it.
Thinking like, does it look like it's healed together at all, or does it look like it's just sort of sewn on there?
It looks like it's just sewn on there.
You could call me a surgeon after recent forays into medicine. I want to try to tear the leg off.
Okay. I mean, if for the record, it's not just a single piece of stitching that's holding it together, but yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to attack some of its stitches to try to dismantle it.
Oh, I was actually thinking I wanted to grapple it and try to tear it off.
An even bolder choice. Sure.
Okie doke.
Make an athletics check.
Natural 20 plus 7 for a 27.
That's pretty good. Well, you're definitely holding on to its really big, thick leg now.
Thickums. All right.
Yeah, you're just giving this a big old bear hug, like hugging a tree. And it's uncomfortable because, you know, I described that the leg looked like it was actually a whole animal unto itself, repurposed. Yeah. You can feel it breathing still.
Oh, poor thing. I'm sure it's slimy too. Well, we're gonna deal with that. So that was the grapple. So is it another attack action to try to wrench it off, or how are we ruling this?
Yeah, because I mean, you're just now holding onto it, like you've got it.
Okay.
So if you want to try to use another athletics check to try to do something to it, you're more than welcome to.
I want a souvenir. So I'm gonna roll an athletics check to try to pull it off. Would you believe me if I said natural 20 again?
No. But I have to if you do tell me honestly if that's what you mean.
Okay.
Because
you know what? I can't. No.
I'm at the stage where I'm actually having a hard time if you're messing with me or not. I actually can't tell.
I got these really good dice in San Francisco, but it hit my boot. I don't feel confident in calling that roll. I'm gonna roll it again. That's a 10, so 17.
17's an 18 today.
Despite Gwen's strength, it's holding on.
Okay.
It's very thick, lot of muscle, and the stitch work is holding together.
But I have it grappled.
Yeah, you're holding onto its leg.
Can I pull it backwards? Not like pull, like, can I move
the creature or the leg?
Down? The leg. Like, can I pull it out by moving?
You can't move out of the square you're in.
Okay.
Because technically, you're in terms of actual grappling rules, you're doing something that you technically can't, which is you're grappling a creature that is 2 sizes larger than you, which you can't normally do. So you're holding on to it.
Okay.
Gwen doesn't have a grapple feature for a size larger.
I might when I'm Wolfie.
Oh, okay.
I can look into it though.
You might.
Not
Not that it matters right now because you're not, but is there
I could
anything
make
else?
a single. Is this considered a successful grapple against this creature?
Yes. And again, in terms of order, it's when you would have grappled it that you would have made the bonus action attack. But since nothing has really changed between now and there, it's fine. So yes.
Okay.
Whenever you successfully grab on someone, you can then hit them.
He has disadvantage on attack rolls.
Because you're good at grappling people?
Because it's a thing I have, and I'm good at grappling people, and I can't grapple him because he's a size larger than me. So it's up to you whether or not I can still make the attack.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Because like I said, the leg is really big, and it kind of requires both of your hands to actually keep it grappled. Otherwise, there's no real way for you to do this with one arm and actually stop it from doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you actually want to keep its leg in place, you have to use both hands.
What if I were to stab it and then like get my sword in there and then hold on to that?
Given that isn't how this unfolded, because this is a thing to remember for the future. Little details I will take into consideration, but right now, no, it doesn't fly.
Okay. All right. I'm just I'm primed and ready for a big time later.
Okay.
But that's my turn for now.
Okay. Next up. Thrickali. Again, not really sure what to do with this whole thing. And a bit of his abilities he understands would just hurt a lot of people, so we're just gonna go with the classic kinetic slam. And whip. Well, that's about that. Ivar.
He doesn't get advantage?
He didn't use seeing. He doesn't know that.
Oh, no, I mean, he's blinded.
No, it's blinded.
Oh,
Unless-
fair point.
Yeah.
In which case it'll hit. It'll take 6 points of damage.
Yep. Okay.
Ivar.
I would like to see something. I'm gonna lean around and cast Toll the Dead on it. When I get to it. There we go.
Wisdom save.
It's,
I rolled a natural 16 plus 1, 17. It will succeed.
Yeah. Okay. Darn.
Shucks. Chiming bell seems to have no
I
effect.
will. Yep. Going. That's. Here we go. Yeah. I'm going to head over to this little party corner here. I'm going to use my bonus action to protect Kenna. Because I can do that.
And for the whole class,
So-
what does it do?
Yes, when I find... There we go. Is it that one? There we go. One of my feet. So, any attack roll made against Kenna has disadvantage if I can see the attacker, which is actually redundant right now because it's blinded. But, you know.
A little bit.
It has so many disadvantages.
It's fine.
Oh,
It's fine. That's his turn.
hollow.
It's mainly me trying to undeafen myself. You know what we're gonna do. We're gonna Eldritch Blast. Twice. And we get a crit on one of them.
Nice. Dealing almost the same amount of damage. Except
Firepower.
we're gonna
The first
knock away
14
the
and-
7 and then add a 10, so 30. A good blast.
Big Chonko. I moved. That's the end of my turn.
All right. It's my turn. The amalgam now being assailed from multiple sides, all of its eyes currently blinded. it is going to, in a grotesque fashion, for multiple parts, spots in its body, tearing open stitches, additional limbs are going to shoot out. Some of which have sharpened bones protruding from the ends. Others are claws that have been stitched onto legs. And it is going to just unleash a flurry of attacks on everyone that is within 5 feet of it. But they're all at disadvantage.
Cool.
So let's see how that goes. The first one is going to be a whopping 16 against Emba. Which I believe hits.
That's a hit.
Emba will take 11 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
The next attack will be against Kenna. Which I rolled a 17.
Hit.
And Kenna will take 11 points of piercing damage. Next attack is against Ivar. Another 17, which I believe is a miss.
No, oh yeah, no, it's an 18. I have armor class on this character. Ah.
And the last attack against Miss Gwyn, which is a 19. Gwyn?
That misses. I'm sorry, that misses. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, cool.
Okay, miss. And that is going to be its turn. And now it is going to make another save against this blindness. And will finally succeed. And by finally, I mean only one turn later, it will succeed. It demolishes that save with a whopping 29. Or 27, pardon me.
Oh! Wow, it must have rolled really low.
It can see again. Yeah,
To
it
beat a
did. I rolled a 2 on the initial save.
A creature like that has a very good constitution from the looks of it.
It has an incredibly good constitution.
Yeah.
But I got a
It
crit
was a
from
long
it.
shot.
You gave me a crit.
And several of its eyes blink, and as they blink, they reopen, and you see the various animal pupils glare at all of you, and then they focus, and you watch as they dilate very widely. Moldahite.
I can't really get to it to make an attack. So, can I hold action to run up and attack it if it gets close enough?
Within 30 feet of you?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm happy to sit here to do that for now,
Okay.
because there's no point if in Lars's idea, like, they're all doing a good job at the moment, and there's nowhere for me to fit into that melee, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But just 2 seconds. Let me just see if I can do something. I will have a quick look over. I should have really done that, but
For the record, Kenna, your turn is next.
Yeah, no, I'm ready.
No, I'll just take the hide action as a bonus action with Skulker.
Okay.
And that's it, really. There's nothing else I can do.
Okay. Roll
Thank you.
stealth check, please.
Yep. 13 plus 10. That's a
23.
23.
Okay.
And Porsche will await as well.
Okay. Same held action?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to move up to actually. It's going to move up to here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to swing Pyre back, but then stick her left hand out like underhand, and I'm just going to burning hands it's just gonna erupt from my palm straight into it.
Fair.
So dexterity saving throw.
It rolled a 15.
Total?
Yep. You know what I said. When you're on deck,
Alright. 6 half.
which is
I have to roll 46. 6. I got a 15 total.
half is 7.
And then bonus action is to have Emba glide back to a distance of this, so it could be an attack of opportunity if it wants.
It will.
And Emba's gonna flame seed.
16.
What was that?
16.
Yeah, it's a hit.
For 13 points of piercing damage.
Okay. And I rolled a natural 19 for flame seed.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna hit.
I just have to get back to, I believe it's a d6. So.
I also believe that.
Yep. D6. Plus proficiency bonus, so that's a 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
So 7 fire.
Quick question, Dyer. Was that attack done with disadvantage still?
Its attack?
Yeah, because
Not
No.
blinded
advanced
anymore.
protection.
No, it's not.
It's
It was.
blinded.
It didn't attack Kenna.
Oh,
I
it
am,
didn't.
I am still grappling it though,
It attacked.
doesn't-
It attacked Emba.
Ah,
but it would be at disadvantage because I'm grappling.
Fair point.
stacking up disadvantages.
Well, so like yes, but also so again, the weird instance is that this is a creature you technically can't grapple. Its big leg that does all the hurty bits, which it can't do because you're holding on to it, would attack with disadvantage if it tried to use it. It grew.
Gotcha.
It grew additional limbs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Fun. Fun.
It honestly
fun.
would.
Also,
I mean, it's also
grapple
not.
doesn't make-
Well, no, she has a
It's a
special
thing.
ability.
Yeah, it's a thing.
She has.
Oh
She
yeah,
has
the
a
thing.
thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not hard to hit Emba, so it wouldn't matter. Most likely.
Yeah, it was better. So, like, it's fine. Anything else, Kenna?
No, that's me and Emba.
Gwen, it is your turn. Then it is Thrix, and then Ivar.
Okay. I'm gonna give this one one more big pull before I readjust my my strategy.
Make another athletics check.
Fuck. 2.
Definitely. You're like trying to uproot a tree. That's what this feels like.
All right. Cool.
Might it?
No.
Who likes winning?
Winning for losers. Can I climb it?
Technically.
Is that a movement or an action, or how does that work?
No, it requires an athletics check. It's not like it's going to let you climb it. Because the moment you begin climbing it is when you lose your leverage because you take your feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can't do that,
if you start
sorry.
climbing its big leg, it's going to then take you and begin swinging you around.
Cool. All right, fine. I'm gonna double back. I'm gonna try to hit it with my sword.
Okay. Make an attack.
I will certainly try. Okay, this is also God damn it, 8.
That's a big negative.
8 plus 7. So
Unfortunately,
15.
still a big negative.
Fuck me running.
You were short by 1.
That's sad.
Spoilers, that's basic.
Okay, that's. Can I buddy cop with Kenna in a way that would be
You gotta
beneficial
move.
to anything?
You gotta move next to Kenna first, and then Kenna has to agree to it. But you could.
Okay.
And can't be flanked, and you get +2 to AAC. So I mean, that's what that means.
Yeah, I'm gonna scooch on over to Kenna and be like, back to back, back to back, and offer to buddy cop.
I mean, I'll accept for the mechanical bits. It's just going to be fine if we're back to back and we're facing one enemy.
Yeah,
Gotta spin.
you're turning away from the enemy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta spin.
You're
It's all right,
effectively
you're-
posing at it, would be great.
I'll face the away portion, so I'll face over here.
Like
For
some
now.
sort of JoJo stance.
Yeah. And then when my turn comes back around, we can spin. But that's my turn.
Okay. Drix, Ivar, you are on deck. Again, a lot of people nearby. Trying to keep doing the precision thing. That one will hit for 9 bludgeoning. Curving the invisible ball force around through the trees and catching it in the side. Given that it is heavily defending its face right now, given that's where everyone else is. Blows on the side are working well. Ivar, follow you on.
Cool. One of the bonus action, which I should have done last turn, but I am a dummy. So bonus action, shield of faith on myself. And then I'm gonna smack it with a sacred flame after I press button.
Dex save. It will fail.
Oh,
It is not very dexterous.
sacred. 9 radiant. Ha.
Alright. The dark, wispy flames burn at its sides, but it does not seem to give much acknowledgement to it in terms of visceral pain. Hollow.
I forgot to hear if that was if AC what AC was earlier. I just missed it. I'm not sure. Does this hit or not?
A 15 does not hit.
But that does. It only does
That
more
one.
damage.
Gotta love it when you roll a 10.
And I move, and that's it.
Okay.
Gonna
The
keep it
beam
moving, you know?
catches it in the side. The amalgam's turn. No longer blinded, no longer grappled. It is now going to make several attacks against all of those fine people in front of it, but now it's got its large arm free. It is going to lift it up for the first time, and it is going to swing it wide and strike any creature directly in front of it for 15 feet. So it's going to hit all three of you with one attack. I think a 26 will hit all of you, yeah?
Nah.
Nah? Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
No.
No, okay. Hang on, let me try again. Oh, I'm rolling very badly on the damage. I rolled a whopping
Good.
10 plus 5. So 15 points of bludgeoning damage as this big sweeping leg just comes across and hits all three of you.
What type
Ivar,
of damage is that?
bludgeoning.
Okay.
Please make a
Yes.
Constitution check or a concentration check. Jeez.
There we go.
Shield of Faith, still good.
Yeah.
Then, because that was only its first attack, One of the limbs is going to burst out of the stitching and attempt to grab. Kenna's been burning it a lot. It's going to attempt to grab. Well, it's going to hit you. So it's going to deal some damage up front. 14 points of damage, to be exact. You are grappled. And now, it will use its bonus action to do a very unpleasant thing, where it is going to use its bite to attempt to swallow you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this will be fun. I can't wait for this to happen.
16 to hit?
Because I have a -2. What? Yes, that hits.
Okay.
I have a -2 to the AC, but then a +2 from the buddy cop. So then, yeah, it ends up being 16. Yeah.
Well, you take 12 points of piercing damage as its multi-limbed, stitched face breaks at some of its seams, and it expands larger and larger and begins to gobble up the half Goliath woman, or the half giant woman, until you are inside its belly.
Will be fun.
Say that. No, let me just read this paragraph of text real fast to make sure I'm not missing anything. Kenna, you are blinded and restrained.
Yeah.
You have total cover against attacks and other effects outside of the creature. And at the start of each of your turns, you're going to take 3d6 acid damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's that for now. Okay. And that is his turn. Moldahine.
Oh, it's not going to come any closer to me. I've got to go closer to it.
It is unfortunately been given a lot of targets right up in front of its face.
Mm-hmm.
And given that it hasn't been given much incentive to care about the person hiding behind the tree, who's doing a very good job about hiding behind the tree.
2-6. Okay. Well, Lars is going to pop out. Where shall I go?
Ah. Wait, where am I going?
Gonna go there. I would like to, I would love to shoot it, and I would also love to throw a dagger at it, but I'd rather keep the daggers on me. And I don't want to rush it without not having to attack it. So I am going to Skulker again.
Okay. There's some snow around you can kind of fall into if you want.
Yeah, just duck under the snow again.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does come close, hold action to like slice its ankles or something. I don't know.
Sure.
That's another 13 plus 10 is 23.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Lars's turn. But Portia is going to go around the other side of the tree, and yeah, just hold action there to attack if it becomes within running range, which is 40 feet. So whichever way it goes, it'll get hit.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, I guess we're back at the top where it is Kenna's turn, and first order of business. Inside, oof. Wow, I've been rolling bigger dice for all the other attacks, and I did more damage with the lower dice.
Is that effect at the start of a turn?
It is.
So does that go before heroic inspiration at the start of a turn?
Depends on what the heroic inspiration is.
Legendary endurance was my plan. At the start of my turn.
Ooh, toughy. I think by the very nature of heroic inspiration, it should always come before everything else. So yes.
This is why I said it was going to be a fun thing. So I believe the limit is there's a limit to it. I think it is
Up to your
proficiency
proficiency.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get a D8. So where's my D8? This thing. So I rolled a 7 and a 7 and a 3. So 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, plus 2, 4, 6.
23.
Yeah. All right.
Well, immediately after regaining that, you take 14 acid damage.
Cool.
Now it is your turn. You are blinded and restrained.
Yeah, you make that sound as if I need to have eyesight or not be restrained in order to do this. So
I don't know what you're doing.
it swallowed me, and I'm just gonna be like, I have been in this position before, being like burned currently. We're just gonna see how this works. So I have Firebrand in my hand. Since I can't fully like really move, but this isn't considered an attack. I'm just gonna go ahead and grip it real hard, and then just gonna like shove down, and I'm gonna do Inferno up through its head.
Fair.
It needs to do a dex saving throw.
Sure. I'm sure it can avoid this. That's an 8. I don't think that that's...
That is a full damage. I have to remember what Inferno, how many dice that is.
Was that all the charges?
Yes, all 4. So that is 76. And since Emba is out, that's another D8. So it's 76 and a D8. Because of fire damage, or a fire ability. I get a D8 per fire ability or a D8 per healing spell.
Is it fire ability?
Could be, I mean, it might say fire spell, but you let me do it before unless we're going to change it.
Have I? No, I don't remember. Fair enough. Lest I become a liar, I guess I have to let you do it now.
Actually, it just says, this is why, because it says deals fire damage. Oh no, cast a spell.
Whenever you cast a spell. Well, if I said that in the past me was wrong.
Yeah, sorry.
This is strictly about spells.
We'll do 4, we'll do 7 then. Alright. I have to roll 4, 8, 10, 6, 4, 8, 10, 16 on 4d6, so 16.
Nice.
17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 27, plus 1, 28.
Pretty good.
And then after that, it just erupts upward. And I just mutter just an incantation. It's just, Butcher didn't take me once, Butcher won't take me twice. And I'm going to cast Healing Word on myself, which does get a D8. So I will bonus action Healing Word, which takes Emba out of the initiative. Thank God I took Healing Word after this last long rest.
Wait, Healing Word with that level 6 ability makes Healing Word a lot better.
Yeah, so I do a D4, which I got a 3, plus 4, 5, 6, 7, and then my D8, which I somehow lost. Where's it at? How did I lose a D8? Oh, because it's right here. Plus a 6.
Nice. 13.
So 7 plus 6 for 13.
You gain back the acid damage.
Okay, that's my turn.
Well, as its inside erupts in fire, Kenna, you get to experience a very unpleasant sight, which is as the muscles are contorting and twisting and kind of restricting your movement around inside, you watch as the fire sort of spreads through the interior of this monster's stomach, or at least what you would consider a stomach, and you begin to hear several cries and hisses of pain, as it sounds like there's a dozen or so animals that are now screeching from being ignited. All of you watch from the outside as at various points of its stitches, it begins to glow, and fire begins to lick out in between them, some of them catching a blaze and burning away. The amalgam doesn't like this.
Ooh, is that another initiative?
It
Oh, wait, you
is.
didn't think there was going to be another initiative after this bad boy got to 0 HP 1 bar?
There we go.
Oh,
Can't believe my number keeps going down.
Sorry, it's how the mechanic works. It goes immediately.
One.
It goes immediately after Kenna. It gives
One
not for your
100.
initiative bonus. And on its turn, you will see as the fire erupts from it and the glow begins to dim, several parts of its body will kind of begin to misshapen and grow. And it will then shoot out from its interior 2 more of these gigantic legs. Different parts of its body kind of falling apart or falling off and misshaping itself to accommodate this transformation. It is going to move up to here, and it's going to more or less try to stamp one of you out of existence. So it's going to take a big ol'... As a matter of fact, it's just going to take 3 big sweeping attacks on both of you.
Oh, cool.
A 19, which I believe misses Gwyn, but hits Ivar. Or no,
Yep,
Ivar, you have Shield of Faith.
makes
All right,
me
it'll
20
just
AC.
narrowly miss both of you. All right. The second one is also going to miss, so 15. The third one will then hit both of you for 26.
Actually,
Oh, this one's already. Yep, this one's already going to hurt a lot more than the last one. You guys are going to realize what dice I'm rolling for this when I tell you what the number is on this. Woo! 37 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, wow.
I'm rolling d12s.
I'm gonna
I
let
rolled
you know right now. You better leave me inside this motherfucker. I'm gonna be super upset.
I rolled a 12, an 11, and a 9. In case anyone was wondering.
Oh,
Actually, can
I need to roll. Dire.
Yeah, you do. And while we're at it, and slightly less tense, Ivar, get your con save out of the way for Shield of Faith.
Hey, real quick question, Al.
yeah,
You don't.
yeah,
You sent homework to Dyer directly, right?
yeah.
Nope.
You have inspiration. Okay, you have
Nope.
inspiration points.
You said 37, Dire?
Shield of Faith.
37 damage was the
that's-
total.
Is that 1 attack or 3?
That was 1 attack. The other 2
Okay,
attacks
so you're
missed.
about to transform, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
You get
let
a
me
con
look at
save? Is that what it
it.
is?
I get a con save. Let me look.
I'm opening up the
Ivar.
document again because it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm doing it too.
Yeah, it's because normally when we think she's going to transform, it's been multiple attacks that just stack up to a total damage.
No,
but
it's
this is an
individual
actual
attacks,
attack.
right? It's always individual attack. That
Yeah,
do
it's
like
whenever
that.
whenever you
Yes.
take damage, you compare it against how much damage you take.
Individually.
Whenever you take
I just
damage
know-
and lose hit points equal to a
multi-attacks.
quarter of your maximum HP. So
Yep.
let's,
Quarter
let's,
max.
let's acquire that number real fast so we know.
17.75.
34 is definitely over
Yeah,
that.
we round down here, so it's 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely more than that. Let's see. And the DC is equal to your affliction level, which is mighty high
18?
right now still.
18.
And on a fail, you will transform into your hybrid form and go bloodthirsty.
So it's a d20 plus my constitution modifier, or my constitution?
It's a con save. So if you have proficiency in it, then but you don't. So it's just d20 plus a 4. Roll that and add 4.
That's an 8 plus a 4?
Is most certainly not a success.
My luck done run out.
How do we get
Remember
there?
when we were saying earlier, like, oh, wait until Ivar finds about Wolfie?
Oh, hush.
Oh, he about to learn. Today he gonna learn.
Scream.
All right. So
Keep going.
Gwen loses control of her bestial self and transforms into her hybrid form.
A lot of fun stuff is about to happen.
Yes.
First, I have to get into my Google Drive.
Yeah, I have this sitting open.
I normally do.
Let's see. Yeah, there are a lot of things here to go through. So here's a fun one. Any creature that can hear you needs to make a wisdom save.
Is that for this one?
Yeah. This is if you're between 17 and 19.
Gotcha.
So all of you can hear Gwen. Please, all of you, make a wisdom save.
Can
No, that's
Kenna hear
easy.
Gwen?
Yes.
Kenna?
I'm only blinded.
Yes.
I'm a druid. Easy.
I rolled a 15 total.
That's a failure.
Yeah, you say that, and I'm a cleric, and I rolled a 15 with a plus
I am
8. Feels bad, man.
Porsche didn't roll very well.
Dang, it's only been being charmed and sleep.
24.
Yeah, 24 will do it.
I would have passed it if I would have passed it. Saving throw? Oh my god, yes, I passed it. Holy.
Yeah, I'm like 21 is sufficient.
Right,
Like,
right. I don't have disadvantage, not yet.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a
Not a
saving
check.
throw, not an ability check.
Hell yeah.
That's not for 2 more levels of exhaustion. You have to worry about that.
Yay.
I know what I must do. I'm about to have to actually pull my trap card out now.
All right, Thrix is good.
You activated my trap card.
Well, hang on. We still have a lot to work through on this bloodthirsty transformation. There's a lot of stuff going down here. So first of all of you are frightened of Gwen. That failed. So if you roll below an 18, you are frightened of Gwen.
Character
That just-
development here.
That means you just can't get closer, mechanically speaking.
Or
Role plays it different ways.
your attacks are at disadvantage while you can see Gwen. Let's see. Gwen has advantage on all of her attacks. That's going to come up in a second.
Plus 5 damage?
Yep. They have to make opposed strength checks whenever you hit them with an attack or you knock them prone. And plus 5 to all damage, and you make 3 attacks right now at random targets within reach.
Okay.
The near creature nearest to you. So you're basically going to go between the amalgam and Ivar.
I can't reach Ivar. He's 10 feet away.
See, on your turn, you perform a number of attacks. The nearest creature to you, moving to the attack.
The
next nearest creature after you. No, you're just going to attack the amalgam. That worked out.
Spacing.
Alright, and I have advantage on all these?
Yep.
Location, guys. That's an 11 plus 7. Now, does the plus 5 also factor into my 2 hit, or is it just my damage?
It's just your damage.
Okay, so 11 plus 7. Let me hit that one more time to see if I get a natural 20. I do not. So 18 for the first one.
Yeah, that hits.
And this is all claws, correct?
Yep.
Does this include my bonus action that I get with
No, it
claws?
doesn't. No, this is just
Okay.
transformation. This isn't an attack action or anything. For the record, this is not your turn.
Okay. Is there anything I should know about damage done by claws other than what I get?
No,
If
just
the
the plus
damage
5.
die doesn't go up. Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so 3 and 1 4 plus 4 8 plus 5 9. She's not gonna smite. 17 plus 7.
Yeah.
So this one 3 plus 4, 7 plus 5, or plus 4. 7 plus 4 is 11.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 5 is 16.
Mm-hmm. One more.
I feel like I'm forgetting something right now. That's another 17.
Yep.
4 plus 3, 7, another 16 damage.
Okay. That's 41 points of damage in total. No biggie.
And I want to. Can I add something in here? Oh, and now does it have to make a strength saving throw?
It has to make a contested check. It's not a save.
Okay. Can I? Can I?
Opposed strength check. So you make 3 athletics checks.
Can I add a little bit of flavor?
Maybe.
I would like, if possible, for Gwen to be like, just like seeing. I feel like part of her rage here goes after the fact that this is so unnatural and like just an affront to her and every hunt that she's ever been a part of. So I feel like she's like trying to go after the seams and just get her claws in there and tear. And I'm sure that's like pulling out chunks and pulling back pieces of flesh and like just making a whole mess of whatever is in front of her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So she is literally trying to tear this thing apart.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You said 3 athletics checks?
Yep.
I don't get advantage on these, correct?
No.
Wait. I don't? Okay. The first one was like a 4 plus 7, 11. The second one was also a 4 plus 7, so 11. And this last one is a 2 plus 7, so a 9.
Despite the fury, you do not manage to knock it prone.
I want to check on something real quick.
It made 3 attacks. Then that was all it's doing. Now, Gwen, officially, it is your turn.
Okay. Cool. So I guess now am I just going after it again like I don't have a choice? It's
No,
my only...
you have to attack the creature nearest to you on your turn.
Okay.
This will become a problem if you manage to kill this.
I imagine.
Because you're about to find the fun prize on the inside of the meat pinata if you keep this up.
Prize inside the Cracker Jacks. Okay, no, she's not thinking, she's just going for it.
She's not. She's literally not thinking. There was
okay,
no
that was a
fun
natural, but I have the natural one, but I have advantage.
You have advantage,
still,
so you're
right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that was a yes.
Yes.
Okay, not much better. That was a 4 plus 7. For my first attack, so that probably doesn't hit, so it's an 11.
Yeah.
Unless his AC went down.
It didn't.
And then my second one was a 17 highest plus 7.
Yeah, its AC is a 16.
Okay.
We've been we kind of figured this out earlier.
I don't recall. 1 and 2 plus, so 3 plus 4, 7 plus 5 is stuff. Oh yeah, and bonus action attack is claws.
Mm-hmm.
Natural 20.
Mm.
And a 2. That is 2 and 2. So do you double the 4, or do you want me to roll 2 more times?
You don't double anything. You take a maximum number on whatever die you roll.
So I have a D4. I have a D4, 2D4 for claws.
Okay. So you would take 8 plus whatever you rolled, add that to the 8, then the strength modifier.
10 plus strength modifier 4
Plus 5.
plus 5.
Nice.
19.
You are
I think that's-
just shredding away at this.
I think that's all I've got. I think that's. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dyer. I think that's all I have to
Nope.
say.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
Thrix still with his faculties. About him, nope, doesn't really have anything other than a healthy respect and, despite not being frightened, fear of Gwen, is going to still swing a ball of psychic energy at it. And whiff, and then is going to worry about self-preservation and is going to go hide behind his. Ivar, there's a werewolf in front of you.
Oh, fun. How injured? So this is golden question here. How injured does the creature look? Of course, I know the health bar, but in character.
It's coming apart at the seams. It's oozing from various places. It smells terrible. It's fighting in a frenzy at this particular moment. It looks pretty bad.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to run away from the frenzied wolf and the creature. I'm going to use my action to disengage. And then bonus action healing word myself.
Okay.
Healing word comes in clutch, man.
Yeah.
Bonus
No, it
actions
does.
OP.
It does. Yes.
Okay.
I just have to find the max, the thing at level 1. Boom.
Nice.
9. Yes. I'll take that. That's max.
Hollow.
That's actually max. Cool. Anyway.
It is Hollow's
It's-
turn.
It is me. It is my turn. You know what we're gonna do.
Continue running and
It's-
shooting.
Yep. Keep things going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that takes a while is doing the running and then the topping the shooting.
Yeah, I think that'll hit.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think that'll hit.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Whoa.
So,
Your dice love
30,
you today.
35. 35. Nice. Two absolutely devastating, penetrating blasts that push through this amalgam's stitched together form, taking off one of its newly generated swinging arms, and it just sort of falls onto the side of the road like a large log.
Does it,
It
like,
is in very
shiver
bad
and
shape. It screeches like a choir of tortured animals.
I meant like the leg, just like
Ugh.
slimy, like if you cut off whatever. I don't have the words for that. Next
No.
turn.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's the creature's turn. Because it's not a smart creature, it's going to just try to fight Gwen.
Fuck yeah.
Gonna hit Gwen. It's gonna hit Gwen twice with both of its big meaty legs. But I'm gonna save myself a bunch of time and not roll any damage on it because Gwen now as a werewolf is not going to be able to. It's just not gonna be able to hurt Gwen. So that's the turn. Yeah. So, Mordechai.
Very, very quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Either of my daggers silver?
The fact that you have to ask me the question, I feel like the answer is no.
Okay.
But I believe I thought you had one of them. I thought one of the weapons were magical.
Yeah, the Gildor dagger is.
Yeah, by and large, magic trumps silver every time.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, magic is like a coverall for everything. Silver is specifically if you're poor, not rich enough to buy a magic weapon, but need something to kill a werewolf. Silver. Otherwise, magic always beats everything.
Yeah. No. No. This is just like as reference to a contingency plan. But because I'm afraid right now, I'm running away.
Mm-hmm.
Meander. And Skulk.
Yep. All right. Hide.
That's a natural 20 plus 10 for 30.
Yep. You are thoroughly afraid.
I am very scared right now.
Yeah.
And Portia is gonna just yeet out of there. And get behind the same tree that who is it? It's at there.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna do that's it, yeah. That'll do.
Kenna, at the start of your turn, you take 10 points of acid damage.
Okay.
Because for some magical reason, it does not spit you up yet. I've been rolling very well on con saves.
Mm-hmm. So I heard the howling.
Oh yeah,
and the transformation.
And you're seeing occasional glimpses of claws. Yeah, you did. And
I'm like, I know what's going on out there.
Yep.
And
You're actually in the safer location right now.
Yeah, but not if this thing falls dead.
Then you become the next target.
Mm-hmm. Kind of just closes her eyes.
Heal the butcher.
This is for both of us. I cast Moonbeam on all three of us.
Okay. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say you're going to put it here.
Yep.
Can someone give me the spell hit for that? Because Moonbeam, unlike any other spell in D&D, really likes to do its things at oddly specific times. And
I got you. I did give it.
I got it.
Somebody. Come on.
Not 520. That is not how that works.
Let's see.
There.
Is that why you're clarifying you're like no longer restrained or something?
No, I think that was Kyle just hitting buttons and it transferring between things. Because
is he
definitely
still restrained?
Yeah, definitely still restrained.
Yeah, 5-foot radius.
So the first time on a turn or starts its turn there. Okay, so it's in the beginning of the turn of the creature. So it's going to hit the amalgam when its turn starts, and then it's going to hit Gwen when her turn starts. Weird, awkward spell sometimes.
It's awkward, but it's great.
Yeah, it's a good spell. It is a good spell. Especially when dealing with shapeshifters. I killed a whole pack of werewolves because of a Moonbeam spell. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll worry about the con save when we get to it. You'll roll some damage and that comes around too. Shapeshifters have disadvantage on the save, so that's important.
And my bonus action is Emba will flame seed the amalgam.
Okay.
After moving further. Actually, no. We'll stay right there.
Fire away.
Wow. My memory is not as good as it was.
1d6 plus 3.
No, I'm thinking of its modifier to hit is it's my modifier. That's right. Everything that it's modified by is my modify.
Yeah.
So 16 plus 7. I'm assuming hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Its
because the
AC is 16. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's throw the d6. Let's get the 4 plus 3 for a 7.
Nice. This thing is just looking awful.
Okay.
And that's it for Kenna, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's beginning of its turn. Con
Yep.
save.
Roll the damage for me, because it's taking half no matter worst best case. It's gonna succeed on the con save.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised by no one.
Oh, that's a 9. And that's a 7. So
Oh, spicy.
16 for
8.
8.
The moonlight ignites its skin and it begins to burn. It is barely holding itself together. But you know, again, not a smart boy. It's going to just try to continue fighting Gwen. I'm actually just going to forego all of the dice rolls because none of its effects really are relevant at this particular time.
It's nothing it does is going to matter.
So, the interesting turn. Gwen starts her turn. Gwen, make a Constitution
Hi.
save at disadvantage, please.
9. Total.
All right. Well, you're going to take 16 points of radiant damage,
Cool.
and you are going to instantly be reverted to your human form.
Cool.
Oh, I don't re-roll for each damage. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I typically just take it for the round.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what he does for me.
Makes things
Okie dokie, you said 16?
16 points of radiant damage.
Still up.
But now just a weak little human.
Oh, that's so sad.
The infinite rage of all of wolf kind, and is just a human now.
Yeah, so here comes the actual worst part of this. So since you've come out of your lichen form and your bloodthirst is ended, you have just a plethora of bad news. So all your saving throws and ability checks until the end of your next turn, you have -2 to. You also fall prone. You are
all of these can be fixed.
incapacitated. Yeah, you are incapacitated for 2 turns.
That is the part that can't be fixed.
Yeah, this one matters for later. You can't gain the benefits of a short or long rest for the next 24 hours.
Oh.
So here you go. And then also where's the other? There you go. That's Gwen right now. So Gwen, you had a turn,
Cool.
but you no longer have a turn. So we're gonna move on to
It's nap
Trix,
time.
finish it off.
Rix is just gonna do the same old. He's gonna swing away, Meryl. Swing away, the boy does.
Good hit.
That was a very good hit. And consistently, one after the other, another ball catches in its side. This time it pushes through. There's a tearing sound as it rips through the other side, tearing through its outer layer of skin. And Kenna, you feel as whatever it hit, it clearly hit something substantial, and you feel all of the muscle tension in this monster kind of give way, and it collapses on top of you. It is dead. You are officially out of initiative.
Do I fall out of it, or do I have to crawl out of it?
No, yeah, you gotta crawl out of it. You wish
I
you
hate
fell
that.
out. Yeah.
I run over to the beam of energy.
I pull.
You might not
pull.
want to touch that.
I shakily run because that was terrifying.
Yeah,
Heck it.
yeah.
I'm
Specifically the moon
pulling.
beam.
I'm pulling Gwen out of that beam.
Mm-hmm. Wise.
Do I take any more damage, or am I just flat out on the ground right now?
No. Everyone was close enough to reach you in one round, so they could pull you.
All right.
We'll just scoot you
You're
out.
coming with me. Yeah, exactly.
And Kenna, you know, if you wait another 6 seconds, the moonbeam will burn a hole for you.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll just let it singe away.
Yep.
I'm like hearing it. I'm kind of like wrapped up in guts, like this motherfucking creature. I swear to God.
Yeah, you're just staring at like a part of an undead rabbit that's inside of this thing, and it's just sort of like staring at you now.
I am not looking. I am not looking. I am not looking.
Lars quickly exclaims.
Rather than the thing that's.
Lars quickly exclaims to the group, "We need to get off the road. Let's quickly get off it right now."
Gwen can't stand.
It's okay. Lars will turn to anyone and say, "Can anyone give me a hand with Gwen, please?" Thank you, Ivar. Let's
strong.
Let's move. Let's move. Let's get to Oz's way and take her south to where we should be going. To, like, behind the tree.
You are
like,
free.
over here.
Yeah. Hey, and Kenna just walks out of the guts.
No, not really. I'm just waiting. I was just waiting for everyone to finish, but Kenna just like swings out of the fucking creature and just drops Moonbeam, which also need to.
You can do it too. Noted. Noted.
There we go. Spell slot accounted for. And just swings out Pyrobrain, getting out of this body, and just screams into the sky towards the butcher. Like, we'll just scream the butcher's name straight out towards it, the sky.
Dyer,
Yes.
when you say incapacitated, do you mean unconscious or just
The
like...
condition incapacitated.
Yes.
Cannot take actions or reactions.
You're
Okay.
you're more or less you're unconscious. Like for narrative purposes, you blacked out.
Okay.
But you come back to consciousness in about 12 seconds.
Cool.
So incapacitated, they're still awake. They're just like frozen. Basically.
Yeah, there's unconscious, another one.
Fair enough.
Unconscious is incapacitated.
Yeah, so she saw what was going on. She just wasn't able to really do anything about it.
Unless you want a narrative, make her unconscious for this moment.
Don't really care. Get to the point where you guys are talking now.
By the way, I need to. So, because of your things about werewolves and what is said about werewolves is commonly spread around stories. Does Ivar actually know too much about the stories of werewolves and the sort of serial killer status that they have? Because
this is a buried memory that you're going to try to access. Make a history check.
history check. Okay.
Yeah,
and whoops.
Ivar comes from a place that has storied lore about werewolves.
Oh,
yes.
wait a minute.
I'm also going to throw in a d6 on this when I load back in.
Is Portia looking Gwen?
Makes sense.
Portia looking Gwen. Oh.
History check. I'm also going to add a d6 to that. When I just want to go eat. 12. Yeah.
Your memories on it remain hazy, but you do not have a good impression of Lyca. You basically, when Gwen transformed and was facing down the amalgam, you were staring at two monsters fighting.
Clash of the Titans.
And that's the impression that you get. Okay, cool.
Let them fight.
I just want to say, after the 12 seconds are up, I think Gwen comes to and is still in the middle of that like adrenaline rush that she just like sort of pops up and swings wide at just anybody around her.
Just open palmed fingers.
Yeah. No, fist.
Oh.
Roll attack.
Yeah.
I think it's the open palm with fingers because you were trying to claw somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So you're not trying to punch anyone.
Fair enough.
You're trying to slap somebody really hard.
Yeah, it's all the same at this point. But yeah, sure.
All
Roll an
right.
attack roll. Let's.
An attack. Okay, which one of us?
Wait, I have disadvantage on this, right? Or
I do want to be slapped. This would be funny.
No, you don't have disadvantage.
Okay. But I don't still have advantage either.
No.
Roll.
Cool. That is a fat 3.
Oh, so well, I guess let's figure out who you're gonna hit. Just pick any dice you want, and odds or evens. Odds is Ivar, evens is Mordai.
Okay.
Never hurt the puppy.
Never.
That's a 1. So
Yeah.
Ivar.
And given Ivar's status as a medic and who's been on a couple battlefields, I feel like Ivar's reaction is he actually just kind of catches the open palm before it hits him.
Yeah, yeah.
Just whoosh.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
And then she's just like wrestling away from him, like, oh, don't touch me.
Behind, because he's still wearing the mask, behind it is like a glowing purple eyes staring deep into you. He is
Ghost.
He'll after a bit he'll let go. Just sort of.
And she just wanders off. She just goes to find her pack. That was all I wanted to do. She just pops up and tries to hit somebody.
Lars sort of like raises a hand to try and talk, but sort of just lets it go.
Ivar then looks up at him. I must protest the company you keep.
It's not like I chose them. But I'm learning to deal with them.
Sorry.
Regardless of your feelings on the current matter, I believe it would be wise for us to continue moving south, lest the individuals that we waited for earlier return to all the commotion.
Yeah, Thrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's get Kenna.
Agreed.
Kenna,
I don't think Gwen's
Come,
gonna stop
we
for
must
anything,
move.
so
Lars addresses Kenna, and Kenna looks down to him, and he'll see that he's used to the normal blue and red eye when she's not like in radiant mode. But right now the blue eye is like flickering to like a red and then back to a blue. And I just spark bear the remains of this amalgamation on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he and Emba will move this way, and then as I pass a tree on the way down, I just basically like put a fire handprint on the tree and keep walking.
Mm-hmm. Gather yourselves. Backlit by the growing fire of the remains of the beast on this path. Gathering together once more and continuing to press onward towards Stenholm against all odds and all other avenues placed before you. And there is yet one last challenge that remains. Guess we'll find out what that is next time we play. We'll end here.
That took my affliction level up only 1, right?
Yeah, you transform, so it goes up.
Cool. Cool.
Uphill battle. This like. Well.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's that, everybody. Slightly impromptu, slightly less planned for battle. I knew they were coming, but that was not the one I had planned.
just another average day for the Moonrise campaign.
Yep. Well, anyway, that's it for us. For those of you that were here, thank you for watching and tuning in. Thank you for the gift sub. I saw that. It's always appreciated. Thank you to you guys for coming together and and playing. I know everything was last minute, but I'm glad everyone's feeling well enough to have played. That's great. Ryan, I'm very glad that you're on the upswing, and I'm glad Charlotte is apparently just a huge badass and shrugged it off.
She's just a tank compared to me.
Apparently.
Pat.
I don't know when the next game is. I got to talk to everybody to figure out what the schedule is going to look like, because I know things are a little different right now, or slightly less predictable. So we'll figure out when the next Moonrise game is, and I'll let you guys know ASAP. Otherwise, yeah, next game I'm running here is on Wednesday for Orphaned Honor, and we're getting into the good stuff. They're meeting a bunch of incredibly powerful high-level NPCs in my setting next week, as they're going to a big grand ball with some of the richest people in the world. It's gonna be fun.
Sounds like a ball.
Hey! So tune in on Wednesday to watch that unfold. It's gonna be a good time. Otherwise, that's it from us. We're finished here. As I always encourage, if you can do nothing else, make good choices. And until otherwise noted, stay frosty. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.